And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100% agree. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
All right, it is May 9th. It is another day of sunshine, happiness. We've got Josh the Punk Thompson, podcast Dave on the controls. I am so happy to be here because it's another edition of the Weighing In podcast. We have got a ton to talk about. We've got the PFL, and it's a little bit of controversy. We've got the UFC to talk about. There were a couple of good fights in there, and we've got a whole lot to talk about with Bellator. We've got Canelo against Saunders. So many different combat sports were taking place. How are you feeling there, Josh? I know you went to Texas real quick. You're back home. You're just a flying monster.
Oh, it's killing me. But before we get started, I want to wish all of the mothers a happy Mother's Day, and all of you.
True. Happy Mother's Day to all of them.
All of them. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and it's everything you guys wish for. Blessed and relaxed, maybe, if you guys want, or just time with the family. I want to wish you all a very happy Mother's Day.
Or just get away from the family.
Yeah, that's what, relax. That's the relaxed part. It was a big weekend. You know, we can get into a bunch of stuff, but I guess let's well, before we get into everything, I got to make sure we talk about our subscription. We need you guys to subscribe to our podcast now. I know a lot of people have reached out into our comment section, and they have actually subscribed to our audio platforms, and that's the big thing we're trying to get built up as well. So go to our iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, all of those platforms. Hit the subscribe button, please. And I want to thank you guys. I got some private DMs, also people sliding in my DMs. You know, it was pretty cool. They were sliding in there saying, hey, man, I hit the audio as well. So I didn't even realize you guys were on there. And so I'm glad that we were able to let you guys know we've been on there for a while, but let's go ahead and hit those subscribe buttons across those board. Also hit the little bell and the subscribe button on YouTube as well. But the bell helps let you know, like, this podcast is going to drop probably an hour or two later than it normally would, only because I was traveling a lot yesterday. So was John, but I actually had to go to a different state real quick. But I'm back, and here we are, and let's get into it, buddy.
Oh, let's talk about the PFL, the Professional Fighters League, and that was a special main event they had. There was two winners and two losers, I guess. I don't know. It was not good. It was not good. What did you think about that whole situation?
It's the old rule. Don't stop until the ref pulls you off.
And you talk about people and what they, they're always complaining, why did he hit him? There's certain things you have to have in MMA when you're the referee, and you go in the back and you talk about, hey, I need you to protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands. When I tell you to stop, I want you to stop all offensive actions, but always defend yourself. If you feel a tap and you're not sure, I want you to hold it until I tell you to stop. You go until I tell you to stop. Once I tell you to stop everything. Do you understand? Yes. And this is why. And this is why when people get upset when a guy goes after someone when they haven't been, the referee hasn't come in and they don't hear stop. This is why, is because we've had this too many times where you get this situation. That's a tap, no matter what anyone wants to say. And it doesn't matter if they go, well, he didn't mean to. No. We've seen it too many times. Chael Sonnen, when he fought Anderson Silva, if you recall, the first time, beating the piss out of Anderson that entire fight, gets to the fifth and final round, gets caught in a triangle, and he does this kind of light tap on Anderson. And, at the time it was Josh Rosenthal was the referee, and he calls it like he should have. It was a perfect call. And Chael actually said, I didn't tap. Yes, you did.
Yes.
Okay. Absolutely did. I got caught by something like that with Matt Lindland against Bustamante early on in my career, and it was like, I will never let that happen again. And we've had situations where, there's been that whole thing. CB Dollaway fought, Sadala, and I think it was for the finals of the Ultimate Fighter at the time. I'm not sure if that was that fight, but he did a tap like that and said, I didn't tap. Yes, you did. Fedor, when he fought Fabricio Verdum, caught in a triangle, does what I called the man tap. One wham, just one tap. People are like, he didn't tap three times. You don't have to tap three times. It's not the WWE, Dave. It's frickin' MMA. And one tap signifies it's over. And what the real problem here is, and this a lot of people are going to say, well, Fabricio really didn't let go. Well, he really didn't, but he did at least release pressure. And that release of pressure, as you know, allow someone to survive. Now they get another, couple seconds that maybe they can do something with it, and that's what happened. This right here, when he tapped, that fight was over. Now, Keith Peterson, I can't blame Keith. He doesn't see it. He's standing on the right side of where he should be. Look at where the head of the opponent is, and sometimes your eyes, instead of seeing what we call the macro, seeing everything, you are focusing in on that micro, and you're basically looking towards the head area and looking towards the guy's eyes and stuff, and you don't see that tap. And so this is what can happen in the fight. I feel bad for Fabricio because he took shots he didn't have to take. He's had those type of fights before, where something happens and it's that fight should end, and instead he's continuing on. So it's not a good situation. We'll see what the New Jersey State Athletic Commission does with it, because the truth is it should at least go to a no contest. The guy tapped.
I was just going to ask you that. It's very evident that he tapped. It's obvious. They should have no problem, but I got to just tell you, John, I have no fucking faith whatsoever in commissions. None. So when it comes to this type of stuff, absolutely, I don't believe that it'll happen until it happens. But this is that old rule. Like, hey, you have to keep going until the ref stops.
Yep.
Like you said, people are going to say, well, he didn't look like he let up. No, but he relaxed the legs enough. The fight was going to be done. Probably thought the guy was about to go out.
Yep.
Fabricio's a nice guy.
He's a super nice guy.
He gets a lot of flack, because he does sometimes get a little mouthy. But a lot of fighters do. We all, like me. I think I got my nickname. That's why you guys are all here listening to us right now, because I just love to give John a hard time, and podcast Dave. But it's fun. But he's one of those guys that he is a nice guy, and so I think when that happened, he decided to let up, and it cost him. I can't even Chael is famous for this, by the way. Remember Paulo Filho, was it the guy he fought in?
Paulo Filho.
Yeah,
he's caught in the arm bars. That was Josh Rosenthal too. He screamed.
Yeah. And then he said, I didn't tap. Yeah. And I remember the Matt Lindland Bustamante one. I remember that one. There was a couple others though that were pretty popular. I looked at the Fedor one as well. Like it was just like, hey, tap, and it was done. But Fedor's not that type of person to say he didn't do it.
That's right.
So but it was an overall. Fabricio, I thought, was looking good up until that moment. Dominant control position, But I guess the issue is that I wanted to know if the commission would overturn it. Is this something the commission will look at though and be like, hey, you can see it, it's a tap, and should be, like you said, a no contest.
Well, I can tell you this: I've seen it so many times. In fact, I'm reviewing one right now where a guy in a place, he yells tap, 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 tap. And the guy releases from the arm bar, and the guy that yelled tap just continues on in the fight, and the referee lets it go. and what happens is, and this is where people don't get it. As the fighter, psychologically, you just lost. You're screwed because you feel like now all of a sudden, he tapped, and you're not thinking of fighting now. You're thinking of trying to explain, something's wrong here. This is not good. And your mentality just goes right out the window. And every time I see them lose, every time, because they're just that whole, mentality of I'm fighting and I'm focused on that now changes to, hey, I'm being cheated, and they are, and it's unfortunate, but yeah, we will see what happens with it.
Kayla Harrison.
Like I said, the biggest problem with Kayla, she's a dynamite, athlete. She's special, but they don't have anybody for her to fight. Let's be honest. Moraes is just not even in her league. Moraes is not going to be in the upper echelon of anyone's divisions as a fighter right now. And so when you have your very best fighter going against people that just are not of her skill level or her abilities or even close, you got mismatches, and that's why what she win 123, the first round, it's just they're gonna have to do something there, because I guess it's great for Kayla. She's getting paid. She's gonna get her her $1 million as long as she continues to train and she's doing things the right way. But I know that someone like her, she wants the competition. She wants to prove how good she is.
Does she?
What? Yeah, she
does. She?
Yeah, she.
I get it.
Anybody that went to the Olympics and won 2 Olympic gold medals.
I get
right?
that.
She wants the competition.
I get that part of it all, and I understand that part of it all. But if she really wanted a little bit tougher of competition, she'd stay at 45.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not saying there's anyone there that's going to beat her either.
No, not in the PFL.
Not that they can sign in the PFL, but I'm saying at least there's a little bit more. There's more fights to be had, and people will recognize the names. I think a little bit more. You know that because there's going to be women at 145 that you've seen fight on the circuit a lot more at 145 versus like just scrounging maybe potential 145ers that just have to go up to 55 for this.
Right.
So that's my point.
Yeah.
Like, does she really? That's the thing.
Does she really?
You know, and I don't think she's opposed to it. I think that they just got to put, as a promotion, they got to put a little pressure on her. You know, and Dana does it all the time. I think even Coker's done it a couple times. Like, hey, you know, if you want to be competitive, you got to be at this weight class. You know, and I'd like to see you stay there for a little bit and let's see what happens. You know, I mean, I've seen both promoters do something like that. Like and Dana sometimes not allowing a fighter to go down. Remember, or go up or whatever it was. Remember Frankie?
Yeah.
You know, he was like, look, if you lose this fight, you're going to 45. He pushed him to 45. Yeah. You know, and it was like, okay, Frankie's like, all right, whatever. Okay, I'll go. You know? Like,
Frankie's not that guy that's going to sit there and argue about it. He's a company guy. He's just a good, okay.
I was just who was I just talking to yesterday about it? Corey. I was talking to Corey Anderson. We were working, you know, and I was just like, dude, he's one of the greatest guys, Frankie Edgar, I think I've ever met in my life. You know, and just an outstanding person.
Yep.
Okay. Let's get into the UFC, man. I think because we're going to talk about the UFC next. I thought the Bellator card was better than the UFC's this week, hands down. And so I think we'll talk about the UFC card.
But now we'll hear stuff because we said that.
Oh, whatever. People, I think if you guys are you guys watch Bellator, you guys know what we're talking about. So we'll finish with the better card at the end of the thing. So, anyways, the UFC card. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't bad. You know,
were you able to see the whole thing?
No, I watched from Phil Hawes and Kyle Dawkins the flights.
Okay.
You know, but I was able to get some. It's so weird. I was able to get some internet service on the plane, but it sometimes got choppy. But the Phil Hawes fight and the Dawkins fight I saw the Gregor Gillespie fight. I saw the other one. I think it's got the longest name in the world, Marcos Rogerio de Lima. But they also threw in his nickname in the middle there, and I was like, "Jeez, man, it was so damn long." When I was listening to Buffer do the announcement, I was like, "Good heavens, what's this guy's name gonna finish?" Neil Magny and Jeff Neal, that kind of got me a little confused too while they were fighting because it was Neil Magny and Jeff Neal, and it's like, and they kept saying Neil, and I was like, okay, which one are you talking about? But then
which Neil you talking about here, man?
Yeah, so it was funny. All right, well, let's get into Phil Hawes.
Phil Hawes looked good, except for he got woken up by Kyle Dawkins, and that he got hit and he got hurt, no doubt about it. But I was really impressed the way in his last couple of fights because we've seen Phil earlier in his career where he gets hit and things start to fall apart. He starts to really just implode, and he's not doing that anymore. He's got a lot more confidence. He's in that position now where it's okay. I'm going to get hit. My opponent's going to have their moments, and I just need to regroup, do the right things to get myself back, and then come at him. And he did. And I thought, you know, you take a look, the body attack that he threw at Kyle Dawkins was the difference maker in that fight. It changed the complexion of the fight, and that's how he started to take over, you know, a fight that Dawkins was doing very well in, and the body shots just slowed him down. Yeah,
I had Dawkins. I had the fight being 29-28. I think one of the judges had it 27 for Hawes.
I didn't agree with
I thought it was 29-28, where Hawes got rocked and almost he was like on stilts. Gave that round to Kyle Dawkins, even though Hawes started to come back towards the end. I don't think it was enough.
Not enough.
Yeah, it wasn't enough to still the round. But I thought Phil Hawes, to be honest, I was expecting, I think it was his last fight where he just hung out against the cage, had a kind of a shitty performance. Wasn't a great fight. I believe he just kept getting to the clinch and just hanging out and holding on. And it was one of those fights where, can you click on him? I'm trying to think if it was his last fight. He caught a lot of flack for it, though. Oh, Emma Voff. I believe it was that fight. Yeah, but it wasn't a great fight. And everyone was expecting more out of him. But this fight was perfect. Honestly, it was a great fight. Had some good exchanges on the feet. I thought he was going to get tired. Didn't look tired at all. He looked actually more fresh than Dawkins did.
Yep.
I thought he did a lot of great things. His takedowns were pretty damn good. Control was pretty good when he did get to the top position. I liked what Dawkins was doing as well, but I think he he wasted a lot of energy trying to get the takedowns or trying to like engage in those, and he wasn't able to get anything. If you didn't get it, just come back up to the feet and start striking again. He hung out sometimes on the legs a lot against the fence. Instead of doing that, get back up to the clinch and do some work there. I think Haas is a lot stronger than we're giving him credit for. So in those clinching areas there, I thought that's what kind of helps tired out Dawkins. But overall, I thought it was a great fight. When I was kind of like, should I watch this fight or not? You know what I mean? I was like I had to go back through all the older clips because I was missing it. So I went back through and watched that fight, and it was good. I thought it was a good fight. Had a lot of ups and downs in it.
Well, in my opinion, that's the kind of wins that Phil Haas now needs, based upon Dawkins is a good fighter. He's tough. A lot of people look at him and they go, "Oh, he looks slow." I honestly think he should have the nickname Doofus. Well, and I'm not saying with the utmost respect. He's got a little bit of a funky body. He doesn't look like a fighter, and so man, it's Kyle Doofus Dawkins. You just got beat by Doofus, man. That's awesome. I think he's great. Yeah, I know it's not, but he's great. He's a good fighter, and his brother Chris, he's a tough dude too, and he's kind of built the same way. It's just their genetics and the way they are. You look at Haas is built like a Greek god, and then you look at Dawkins and you go, how can that guy stay with him? But he's a tough dude. He's a good fighter.
Good stuff. I mean, the fight of the night obviously was Gregor Gillespie and Diego Ferreira.
Oh,
fight of the night.
You talk about two ferrets fighting over a frickin' walnut, man. They were going crazy in that.
It was absolutely phenomenal to watch, John. I'm watching this fight. I'm going, holy shit. This is just next level type transitions. And a lot of it, though, too, was Diego was doing a great job at attacking in all positions and making Gregor defend. Yes. And then he was actually utilizing a lot of good stuff to get himself back on top. And then Gregor just put himself in uncomfortable positions to get out and not settling in a position to let Diego get to a dominant position. Every single time. There was one moment, I think at the end of the first, where he was mounted. And I'm like, and Gregor just looked lost. Like he didn't know how to get out of the mount. But all the other transitions before that, though, were so impressive. The fight was absolutely phenomenal. It was so good to watch.
There was the one simplest part of that fight was they were both, Gregor had a wizard. And he's on that wizard, but Diego is actually above him on it. And they're stuck both face down into the mat. And it's the simplest position, but you could tell the pressure that was applied on both of them.
Yeah.
And they're trying to work their way out. And I'm sitting there, I'm fascinated by it. I'm going, all right, this is what you got to do. But that's going to hurt. Your shoulder's got so much pressure on it. That's going to be a mother. But you got to do something. Someone's got to do something. And I'm just looking at it, just the way they got out of everything. And the amount of energy that they put out in that fight was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Gregor had the underhook.
Might have had the underhook, and Diego had the wizard
arm out because Diego had the wizard, is what I was thinking as when I was watching it, and Diego had enough pressure on Gregor for him to not be able to limp arm out and get to the back, and then Diego couldn't circle to the back and get lower on the wizard. So like, yeah, I agree with you. I was thinking I was like, man, how can we just limp arm out? Get out of there. Yeah. The two of them were crossing each other out, and Diego's hips were up pretty high, so he was able to have a little bit more hip pressure into him. Yep. There were some great transitions. There was a lot of great transitions. I want to say Diego had hit the Kimura, rolled Gregor all the way through, almost got to the back. Then Gregor went to step over the body, and then Diego caught the body with his feet and then pulled him back into the back position. It was just awesome. And then that's how the round started to end was Diego let go of the Kimura, and Diego ended up on his back and then end up in mount and then ended up the round that way. And I was like, oh, man. And then I did notice that Gregor got up all kind of, his legs were all wobbly.
He was hurting.
And he was just exhausted. But, man, he recovered really fast. And
which tells you what kind of shape he was in.
He's in phenomenal shape. That's the thing. I want people have to understand, just because you're tired doesn't mean that you can't go on. You got to, if you're in good shape, these guys recover in that 25 to 35 seconds. I remember a while back we did a show, and I had told people what my conditioning routine was, and people were like, oh my God, and I said, like, the reality of cardio, when you do your sprints, you do your long distance running, it's about shortening the length of your recovery while you train. So when I start off for 8 weeks, I do 4 to 6, 8, 440 sprints, full lap sprints. And my break is like double however long my time was. So if I sprint the full lap and say a minute 10 or a minute 5, I double it. So it's 2:10 is what my rest time is. But that's 8 weeks out. And then by the time I get to 6 weeks, I'm down to like a minute 30. I basically only do it like say 30, 70%, of recovery. So then I give myself a little bit shorter of a duration, not double the time anymore. And then by 4 weeks, I should be at basically like however long my sprint is, that should be my recovery time. So if it's a minute 10, I get a minute 10 recovery. And then by the time I get to 2 weeks, I should be at the 30 to 45 second range, for your recovery. And you're doing it again. And then as you do it, you want to go up to about 8 sprints. So you're increasing the amount of sprints you're doing as well. So you're shortening the length of recovery and including and increasing a couple more sprints in there. So, I mean, he looked phenomenal. He looked good as he came out into round 2. And he just did some work. That wrestling, his transitions are amazing. Yeah, he's got to start moving his head, though, John. Move his head.
Can't ask everything from him.
And he leaves his head right there in the middle every single time. And when the guys throw strikes, he doesn't change level. He doesn't slip his head offline to close the distance. His coach needs to work with him on I'm not trying to like intrude, but his coach needs to work on him. Every time someone throws something at him, a pad or something, like if he's throwing his mitts at him, he needs to move his head offline and close the distance for the takedown. Or he needs to learn to throw as he slips. He doesn't have that right now. He has this. He just moves his head, if he moves it at all. Okay, and he comes right back to the same spot. So if he misses the first one, he comes back, the second one lands. You can only move your head so many times. You got to move it and get closer, move it and get closer. Otherwise, or move it in a circle. Otherwise the punches can land clean because you're bringing your head always back to the same spot, which is right in front of their fist. Yep. So it was, but I got to tell you, I wasn't sure he was going to recover from the Kevin Lee fight.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. And he even said that. And he was almost in tears after we listened to the interview. He was almost in tears. And I was like thinking to myself, dude, I was a fan before, but this fight has me like just on the edge now. I can't wait to watch you fight again. Someone sent me a message saying, hey, what do you think about Islam and him? And I'm like, no, because he won't be able to take Islam down. He's not a big guy. That's the thing. Gregor, he's not a big guy. Islam's a huge guy. And Islam's going to stuff his takedowns, 2 or 3 of those. And Islam's really good on the ground. And I know everyone's going to say I'm a homer. No, I'm not. I'm not being a homer. From what I saw last night, do I think Gregor should be up there in those top guys? Absolutely. But do I think he can beat Islam? No, I don't think he can.
Well, there's a couple things, when you're talking about his conditioning and stuff, and then you talked about what you would go through. So I would do a 4-minute 440 because that way I had 4 minutes to recover from my very long 4-minute 440. That's why I was in the condition that I was in. That's called mental weakness, dude. Yeah.
No, there's nothing mental. You played water polo in college, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of swimming, John. There's no mental weakness in playing water polo.
No. But, it's funny because you do watch these guys and you see that recovery, and it's amazing because it is I don't care what condition you're in, you're going to get tired. Yeah. The reason you're getting into condition is so you can recover from being tired, and you can recover faster than your opponent, which means you have energy to put out when they don't. And Gregor really showed something because he showed how much energy he had put out in that first round. He was tired and he was hurt, and he came back in that second round, and you never would have known that guy that you watched walking back kind of stumbling because his legs and everything were shot. He was exhausted, and very impressive, very impressive. And every time I see someone and they're in the cage and they're working hard, and you see them, they take that step back and they go, and then all of a sudden they're coming forward. You go, man, one damn breath and you're back feeling better. It's like incredible. It's one of the things. It's one of the things about MMA and the athletes that we have that just amazes me.
Frank Shamrock, that was one of the lessons that I learned from him, and was that he said, you don't realize you're tired until you stop moving. So just keep moving for the whole round. He's like, you'll figure it out between rounds. And at least you have a whole minute to recover. That was his whole MO. It's like, I'll keep moving. He's like, because every time I stop, he's like, I get exhausted. I feel exhausted. My mind starts playing tricks on me like, you're tired. Sure, you're tired. He's like, but I can get through it. And so he just said, don't stop moving. Don't stop moving until you're in a dominant position. If you stop moving, then that's when someone sets their weight on you, and then you got to carry their weight, and and then you get more tired. He's like, no, don't stop moving until you're in a dominant position. Once you're in a dominant position, make them carry your weight, and then you can get your breath and hold on for a sec. He's like, just remember, they're always just as tired as you. You know, they're just as tired as you. It's just a matter of you pushing through and keep moving. And it's true. You don't realize how fatigued your arms and your legs and everything are until you hear the clack clack, and then it's like then the horn goes off and you go to get up. You're like, holy shit, I'm tired. Oh man, but that was hands down. That was the fight of the night. Hands down, great fight, and I want to tip my hat to Greg Gillespie, man. Good stuff. Lima, I'm just going to call him DeLima and Green.
Yeah,
not really much to talk about. Green just didn't underperformed. No concept of how to get up to his feet.
I think I'm being honest. I think DeLima underperformed.
Yeah,
he has a guy in a lot of positions where he can go after him and he can do more, and he's not. He is in a lot of ways. He's telling himself, and he was right. I'm just better on the ground than you. I can control you, and I can get a win here. This is what I'm going to do. You got to figure his last fight. I believe he got choked unconscious in his last fight.
Yeah,
and so
Romanov, Alexander Romanov.
And that was it was I want to say it was his forearm. I'm not. Yeah. It's either shoulder pressure or forearm pressure. He got choked unconscious. So I don't blame him, but this is the difference of people wanting to see you when you're going after it in the fight, or you're just, okay, I'm going to get a win and I'm just going to play it safe. He played it safe, and that's you got to give people more. Yeah,
I understand that, but John, coming off of a loss, he just
and I know
that's kind of, I think, honestly, like everyone's just thinking, if you're a fighter who's coming off of a loss, especially like a forearm choke, you're thinking to yourself, just let me get a win. That means I have another fight coming. If I get 2 losses, I might be gone. There's a lot of things that go through fighters' minds. And he took the safe route. He could have done a little bit more work on the ground in terms of trying to get him out of there ground and pound. I wasn't looking for a submission from him, to be honest. I was looking for more damage because he has some fucking heat.
Yeah.
He's got some heat. And I noticed in his Sherdog picture, he's got Strikeforce gloves on.
He does.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Where he came from.
Yeah, Maurice Green, he just needs to go back to the drawing board, man. He didn't look good at all. There wasn't one moment in the fight where I thought he looked good. There was no answer. What are you doing holding the head? Every time he got taken down, he was holding the head. Frame the face away. The length you have, bring your knee between you and him.
Yeah, knee shield inside. There's all kinds of things to make space with your length, but you are doing things that actually make your length work against you.
John, he had the underhook several times, and I saw him pull the underhook out to go back to hugging the head. Yeah. I'm like, what are you doing? If you have the underhook, you're already winning half the battle. You're already halfway there. All you do
you're a third of the way up.
Yeah, you just got to scoot your hips out. If you scoot your hips out and start elevating your underhook, you'll be to your knees in no time. He had no concept of what he was doing. None. So, I mean, yeah, I wasn't impressed. Look, Neil Magny and Jeff Neal.
Oh.
Neil Magny's, we say it every single time we're on the show. Dude, let's give this guy somebody good.
Give him something good. What are you talking about? No, Jeff Neal's not good?
I came out completely wrong, John.
Okay.
I just put my fucking foot in my mouth. Sorry. Jeff Neal's a savage.
Yes.
He's a savage. But I meant, like, let's give him one of those top 5 guys. Let's give Neil. He deserves it. He deserves to be up in that conversation now. Let's get him up there.
Neil Magny he's just a stud. But then he'll have that fight like he had against Chiesa, where you just, and you got to give it to Chiesa as he created that situation that he just made him look average. Made a hard fight on him, controlled him, and got a great win. But I love Neil Magny. That's a guy, he comes to fight. I love the pace that he puts on. He's going to sit there and he's going to make you have to work hard. And, Jeff Neal was throwing bombs at him at times, and he'd give a little shoulder, got hit a couple times, but, gave some movement, came right back with throwing, good combinations, ending with kicks. He really did a very systematic breakdown in the fight of Jeff Neal, of pushing him to a pace where Jeff was, all of a sudden his arms were tired, the heat was off it, they weren't coming near as much, and Neal just kept that pace coming and just kept touching him. It was a good, I think it was a great win. I thought that Neal won the first round. It was close. I could see where the one judge gave it to Magny, but it's all right. Because Neal was coming on. I didn't think he closed it enough, but the second, third, I mean, it was clear the volume that Magny put out there. It wasn't even close.
Yeah. I think the push kick was key. It kind of slowed Jeff Neal down a little bit. That little toe kick in there kind of slowed him down. It also kept the range. It kept Jeff Neal from jumping in, because every time he jumped into the kick, and that shit hurts, man. It hurts. Not only does it hurt, it just takes the wind out of you as well if it's landed properly. And so Jeff Neal just had a hard time closing the distance and be able to land that straight left. He was having a hard time with that. So I gave Jeff Neal the first round also. So I had it 29-28. But Neal had a lot of output, a lot of good stuff.
A lot of firepower in the beginning.
Yeah.
Boy, he's I tell you what, when he throws with a whole lot of velocity, man. He's definitely got power in his shots.
Yeah. You had a lot of good things to say about Morano.
Yeah, I told you.
And you said, like, oh, he's going to be a dog. He's going to get out there and go there and fight and this and that. And I mean, I want to know how much of changing the opponent had a difference. I mean, obviously Diego's a lot different than Alex Morano when it comes to that, but Diego was also someone that just comes forward and throws punches as well. And so Cowboy should have been prepared for that. I wouldn't say it's the same type of fight, but the opponent's a lot stronger.
Not only is the opponent stronger, he's faster.
Yeah.
Look at Morano's faster than Diego right now by a lot. He's younger, and he can accept damage better. Just everything in it. When you were taking a look at this fight coming in, Morano is very similar to Diego as far as, as a young fighter, a guy that comes forward, a guy that, applies pressure. He's tough. He doesn't stop. He's got a good grappling game. He matches up very well with the young Diego, but he's better than the old Diego.
Yeah.
And that was the problem for Cowboy. I never want to say anything derogatory or bad about Cowboy. He is a fucking savage. He has been a stud throughout his career, but it's the speed difference. He's slowing down, and I think that's where he's getting hit by shots now that he didn't get hit full force before. He would slide a little bit out of it, and he's getting hit by those shots now, and they're having their effect, man.
Here's the reason. I've said this before about myself, and I see it in other fighters that are getting older as well. They throw, and they know they're slowing down, so what they do is they kind of grit down a little bit.
Tense up, knowing they're going to get hit.
Expecting to get hit, and sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. But that 1 second delay of gritting down, and then they go to move out, and they get hit on the way out because the opponent's like, "Oh, this guy's still here. Shit, I can hit him." And so that happens as you get older, and I can see it's happening to Cowboy. Yeah. I've seen it in a couple other guys. I won't say who their names, but I can see it from them. They throw, and then they wait almost like as if to get hit. And then they pull out, and then when they're backing out, by then the opponent's able to land another shot or two. So instead of just getting into those exchanges. The other thing is you see the punches are having a little bit more of an effect. Yeah. As when you were younger, you could, like I said, that was one of the biggest tells for me in the gym is I would get hit with 16-ounce gloves, and I was like, it hurt. And it wasn't like it was when I was younger. It was like a quick flash, and then just walk through it and keep going. Getting hit by guys like Koscheck and Fitch for years, and then sparring with guys that are, 145 and 155 and feeling like stunned for a second, almost like that stone. You got stoned, and then when you finally came to, your opponent, whoever I was sparring with was over there now. He wasn't even fighting anymore. It was like a flash, but yeah, it wasn't a quick flash. It was like, boom, oh shit, he's over there. Now I'm seeing a little bit of that in Cowboy, and it's scary. It's scary to think.
And we've talked about it. When I had my gym, I was 52, and I would still spar with guys, and I was getting hit. I was sparring with one guy, and it was, we were having fun, but, I was helping him, and he was just lighting me up. And I was all of a sudden, I said, in my mind, I'm going, this fucking hurts.
Yeah.
And it's the only time I ever said that while sparring. Well, in anything, it was like, I never ever in my head said, oh, this hurts. It was like, ooh, and I'd feel it, and I would try to do something in response. And I just started thinking, God damn, this hurts, man. This fucking hurts. And I said, I'm done. I'm done sparring, man. Now it hurts. It's not even enjoyable.
No. Yeah, I get that little thought, like, oh, next time I go to AK, I'll bring my training gear and stuff, and I'll spar.
Don't do it.
Nah, it's okay. I'll go there and grapple and stuff when they get back open. But no, I have no desire to get punched anymore. Just people keep asking. I ran into one of our people at Bellator in the back. They're like, Josh, you got to come out of retirement. I'm like, fuck no. There's not one thing. Like I left a lot of money. That's what people don't think. They don't know.
Yes, you did.
'Cause I left a ton of money on the table. You know, my next 3 fights. When I had 4 more fights left, I think. My next 3 to 4 fights, my money was going to go up a lot, and I was like, it's not going to make a difference.
It ain't worth it.
No, it ain't worth it. So, anyways, Rodriguez versus Watterson.
Well, hold on. I want to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that Donald should call it an end?
Yes.
Do you think that he should go on?
No, I think he should. Because honestly, he's got a lot to offer in other areas. But
That's the way I look at it.
If you keep fighting, those areas may go away.
Dry up.
You know, and it's like you have to learn that. Okay, look, you had a good career, and you're not going to get anybody. They're not going to give you anyone super tough anymore, which is fine. So you're gonna. But now, if you do lose to someone, you're just hurting your legacy. On top of the fact that the more damage he takes, it's going to be less likely for him to do other things after fighting. And I want to remind people that I don't even know how old is he. 37. I think he's 37.
38, I think.
Is he 38? Yeah, he's 38. Okay, so 38. My thing is this, is that at 38 years old, let's just God willing, he lives to be 80. He's got another 40 years of his life to live. Do you want to live it with all the pain and injuries and all those other things that come along with it, as well as, where'd I put my keys? That kind of situation. And you have I think he has 2 young kids, correct?
Yes, he does.
He has 2 young boys. Yeah. One is what? Jackson? Danger. One's Danger, and I don't know what the other one is. Name is. But 2 young boys. Like, spend time, man.
Got so much ahead of him.
So much, yeah. And with his ranch and everything, I'm sure he can stay busy all damn day doing that.
He could definitely coach. There's no doubt about that, because he's a good coach. He understands the whole game. But he's such a personality that people and he's a genuinely nice guy.
Yeah.
And he likes people, and I think the UFC needs to keep him around. He's good for their brand. He's outstanding for their brand. He doesn't do anything wrong. He does crazy stuff, and that's why people love him. He's big into doing all kinds of, things that get his adrenaline pumping, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't want to see him used as that guy that, we're going to get so-and-so, a good name on his record with a win. It's like, that's not where he should ever be.
Like, if I was the UFC, and even if I wasn't the UFC, if I owned my own TV network, I'd be trying to get some sort of show about his ranch, him and his ranch, and him taking random people, whether they're celebrities or just random people, him taking them skydiving, him taking them on this boat, teaching them how to wakeboard. I would make a TV show about the BMF ranch. I mean, that honestly, like, if you have, I would make like one of the 24/7s. You know what? This week's 24/7 is going to be about such and such fighter going to the BMF ranch out there to do some crazy shit with, of course, Cowboy Cerrone.
You don't know if you want your fighters going out there doing crazy shit with.
I agree.
All right, this fight is canceled because of.
Yeah. I get it, but I would do something along those lines.
Yeah.
With him behind him, because he's, obviously you don't want your fighters out there bull riding. But I mean, wakeboarding, you got wakeboarding, you got snowmobiling. He does all that stuff, man. He does it all. He does all the, what's it called? Like those, the, not ATVs, but they're like, what are they called? The Razors and the Cats.
Oh yeah.
Those, 4-wheelers. He does.
What are you talking? He does the snowmobiling. He flies planes. He does it all.
Yeah. So I think it'd be perfect. I think you have something like that, and then plus you have the training aspect of it as well that's out there, that you have a lot of fighters that are out there. He did a little video the other day, and I saw him, like, it almost felt like a little bit of that Jackass feel to it, where he had one of the guys like trying to take his leg kicks, and it was hilarious. And he had the pad, and he like swept the leg out from underneath it. It was just fun to watch. I was getting a giggle out of it, And I think it's a perfect situation, perfect scenario where you have somebody that he's got the personality to be on TV. He's fun. His one-liners, like his whole thing about the Joshua Fabia thing.
Oh,
I just about fucking just about.
come on, that was funny.
I was like, gosh, I can't believe this is coming out of his mouth. But but he's got so much shit. All the hunting stuff, all the fishing stuff. He's got a great personality. If you guys follow him on Instagram, what's it? Cowboy Cerrone? Yeah, it's Cowboy Cerrone. So you guys check him out, man. He's got a lot of great stuff on his Instagram. So, but I'd like to see him hang it up. But I'd like to also see him potentially start talking to the UFC about doing something for his ranch out there. It'd be great.
There was some people I saw that actually were saying something about the stoppage that Mark Goddard, shouldn't have stopped it when he did. It was early. It's like, no, Mark Goddard did the right thing, and you got to understand, Mark Goddard, cares about Donald Cerrone. He really does. And when you're seeing a guy getting hit, hurt, and then he actually started to turn away right at the end, and you go, there's no reason to see that final nail in the coffin. You don't need to see him face down, ass up to know, this is what's going to occur. Yeah. It just was too much. It was a good stoppage. I wanted to say that.
Yeah. The other ththing is that fighters sometimes are out on their feet. They don't know where they're at. They don't know where the punches are coming from. They don't even realize they're still standing. So I've seen a lot of
we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of my friends. I've seen a lot of my friends that were kickboxers, and they would get hit, and they'd be standing straight up, and they didn't realize. Just taking shots.
Nobody's home.
No one's home. The lights are out. It's done, and without the ref, they'd still probably be standing taking shots. So, okay. So Rodriguez and Waterson.
It was I give Rodriguez is good. She's a tough, fighter. She's got that volume. Plus, she's got power. You don't see power in normally 115-pound fighters, but she actually has snap on her shots. You can see that it hurts people. I thought Michelle Waterson was doing everything she could in that fight to be effective, to be active. When she got her to the ground, she did a lot of great work, but she just wasn't able to get her down to the ground, the way that she is with most of the fighters that she competes against. And so it actually went the way I thought it was. I thought that, Rodriguez was going to get the win just based upon her heavy power and her stand-up and she's got good, takedown defense. So it was a lopsided fight, but it was competitive. It was very similar kind of, to what we had at Bellator a little bit, where it was clear who won, but the other fighter was fighting hard throughout it. So,
yeah, I think Michelle made it interesting at the end in the fourth round and with the takedown.
Even in the fifth.
In the fifth, she made it interesting. So, I had Michelle winning the fourth and the fifth, and the fifth was close. Because Rodriguez finished, I think, a little bit harder with the hard shots.
Yes.
She got power. The other thing as well is that, like with Michelle Waterson, her takedowns, I don't like to see people shooting like that for the legs, knowing that someone's long and lanky like that. Punch your way into the clinch, because her one takedown was in the clinch. She kind of shot a half-ass shot, but made her way into the body lock and was able to get behind her and then took her down. Those are the ways when you're trying to fight someone that long, punch your way in and get close to them and then body lock them, and it wasn't there. She didn't start getting that on until the fourth round. So, but overall, I was impressed with the fact that Michelle Waterson, I thought she was going to steal the fight. After that fourth round, I was like, she's going to steal this fight. She gets another takedown. She might be able to get some work in there. I thought maybe she was going to get to the back, get a choke, anything along those lines. Yeah. But no. And then that was the other thing. She came out in the fifth. She let a minute and a half go by before she did anything. And if I'm her corner, I'm like, what are you doing? Go. Like, you're down. Like, that would have been the conversation in the corner after the fourth round. We need to go out there, punch our way into this clinch and this takedown, or we need to go out there and punch our way into a takedown. And so that didn't happen for almost a minute and a half. By then, Rodriguez had kind of fully, she's recovered in terms of she's got her win back and she can fight as hard as she wants for the next 3.5 minutes. I thought Rodriguez, and I'm not going to take anything away from Rodriguez. She's got some power. She puts her combinations together really well. It seemed like every time she threw and hers landed, it affected Michelle Waterson's like ability to stay in front of her. She got hit and it pushed her backwards. She got hit, pushed her into the fence. She got hit, it made her go left or right. You know, whereas Michelle Waterson up until the fourth and fifth round, she had nothing that really landed. She had shots that landed clean, but nothing that made Rodriguez like, oh, I got to respect that.
Alter her game.
Yeah, it didn't make her like, oh, wow, that stunned me, that hurt me. But she had a lot of good stuff, and like I said, in the fourth and the fifth, Michelle Waterson did. But the first 3 rounds was all Rodriguez.
Michelle Waterson's a gamer, though. You got to she's the best part about her is there's times she's out there, she gets hit, and she got that smile.
Mm-hmm.
And you look and you go, why are you smiling? But I love the fact that you're smiling.
Yep.
You know, it was a tough loss for Michelle. You know, I know she felt like she had a chance against her and stuff, but you're really seeing kind of like a star is born with Marina Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
She's only got the one loss against the Esparza. It was a split decision loss. You can go back and look at it, and it was more just that wrestling versus striker type of scenario. She's good. She's going to be a handful. You know, I would love to see you want to put a fight together, put Joanna and Marina together. I want to see that fight.
Yeah, that'd be a good fight. Yeah, that'd be a good fight. I'd like to see.
Would be. Say exactly where Rodriguez is at.
Yeah, let me see. Pull up her Marina's record. She fought Hebus, right?
Yeah, that was her fight before this.
Yeah.
She knocked her out kind of twice.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. Huh, gotcha.
He's good.
I think Joanna pieces her up. But she's big. I think she's a lot bigger than Joanna. And Joanna, even though she's got great stand up, she doesn't have as much pop as she does as Rodriguez. Rodriguez
No,
has
she
more
does
pop.
not.
And Joanna's chin, I don't want to say it's suspect, but she doesn't take a hard shot as well as
she used to.
As she used to, yeah. And she's not done by any means. I'm not saying say that. No. Joanna's fucking still up there in the top dog. One of the top dogs. Yep. All right. Well, let's jump into Bellator, buddy.
All right. Let's go.
Full disclosure, guys. Can you scroll down to the prelims?
Yeah, full disclosure.
Full disclosure, guys. I said that this card was going to be one of the best. Our prelims, and I'm going to be honest, some of our prelims let me down. You know, and I'm just being honest. Look, I gotta call out the bullshit too. I want everyone to, I don't.
You make your statement, and I'm going to counter it.
I'm a homer, and I wanted them to perform. There were some fights in here that were fabulous. Henry Krause and Johnny Campbell. Great fucking fight.
Johnny Campbell.
Great fight.
Savage.
I thought Johnny Eblin did. Eblin. Okay.
Eblin.
I thought he did exactly what we needed him to do against a very tough and game fighter in Madrid. Okay. Great fight. I thought Patchy Mix came back on track and did exactly what he needed to do. But, okay. Perez, I wasn't impressed. I know he got his win, but I wasn't impressed. I thought he could have done more. Just my personal opinion.
Okay.
Weber Almeida, you gotta get better at the ground, buddy. I was high on you until I realized that your ground game needs a lot of work, a ton of work, you know. And I thought Soto just came after him and put it on him and was just touching him, was able to get those takedowns and just control that position. It was 1-1 going into the third, and Weber just didn't have anything left in the tank, nothing there.
Yeah.
So, if I'm going through these Lorenz Larkin going up to 85 to fight. He was supposed to fight Van Steenis. He's lucky Van Steenis didn't show up. And I love me some Lorenz, man. But at 170 is where Lorenz belongs, at 170. I know Rafael's a big, tall, long guy, but so is Van Steenis, by the way. I mean, he's not as big as Cavallo.
But he's definitely more violent.
Yeah, he's definitely more violent. Way more violent. You know, and so if that would have been Lorenz and Van Steenis, I don't think it would have went well for Lorenz. You know, so I can get into all this, but the one I want to let's talk about the prelims first, and then I'll get into the Josh Hill and the Stotts fight. But
I think you're pretty honest, because there was a couple of fights in there. You know, you're going to look at the Henry Corrales Johnny Campbell fight. That thing was fire.
Yeah,
Johnny Campbell is absolutely nuts. He was throwing things. He was doing spinning attacks. He didn't care if he got hit. He'd stick his face in there at times. He does make a basic mistake. He's doing what a boxer does as far as, swinging his head, low and he's got to be very careful of a guy bringing up the kick or bringing up the knees. Henry's not that guy that really is a kicker.
Yeah.
So it might have been just his game plan against Henry. So I'm not going to say anything about it, but man, he was tough, man. He was fun to watch. What a finish and what a great personality he was. I just loved everything he did. And like you said, Johnny Eblen looked great. Johnny, I'm going to call Johnny, what's your nickname now? Eblen, because he keeps on changing his nickname. Now he's Diamond Hands or something like that, he said. Yeah. So he was, I think he was Soulja Boy, then he was the Korean Canelo, and now he's Diamond Hands. So it keeps changing, but he really looked good. He did exactly what he needed to do against a guy who in the stand-up and has a submission game, you're looking at is a very good fighter, very well-rounded. Daniel Madrid's a tough dude.
Yeah.
The one thing that we really knew that Eblen had as a ace in the hole is had his wrestling. He's a better wrestler by far. Never used it. Never used it. So
that's what impressed me the most, John.
I know.
He didn't even really threaten it. He didn't lower his level.
Never.
He said, no, I'm going to stand here with you.
And even when he got into him, he pushed off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was impressed, man. Look, when I used to talk with Rich Chow about the guys that were coming up, guys like Ed Ruth, guys that were wrestlers that try to make a change and get their striking on track, this is the growth that they wanted to see. Ed had some good wins on the feet, but he never had a win against someone like a Daniel Madrid, somebody who was so well versed and so well rounded. Ed, he beat Jason Jackson, but you could have said Jason Jackson won that fight. There was other.
He beat Kunamoto. Keach Kunamoto. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good win.
That's pretty good. You're right. Okay, so but I'm saying like the growth that we saw in Ed versus the growth that we're seeing right now in Johnny Eblen is a little bit different. This is the kind of style, like he looked clean, he looked crisp. And you knew, like you said, you knew he had the ace in the hole with his wrestling. His wrestling's really damn good. Yeah. Like really good. And so it is at Ed Ruth level, but Ed's wrestling doesn't transition very well to MMA, and we've seen that. Whereas Ed scrambles do. We saw that against Amosov. It does. It works its way through. But Eblen's wrestling transitions very well to MMA. And the fact that he didn't even for one moment think about using it. Yes, and he obviously stayed very clean and tight with his stand-up. He looked phenomenal. I mean, I don't know. You could be looking at your next champ. You could be at that weight class.
How Johnny got into MMA was Steve Moko.
Mako?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you talk about a crazy, mean bastard.
Yeah.
That's Steve. And Steve saw something in Johnny Eblen and said, "Oh yeah, you need to be an MMA fighter, and I'm going to help." And he's coaching him, and now he's got Mo Lawal with him too. And you can see the change. You can see what he's doing, man. He's really looking good.
Maka was at Oklahoma State, I think, with DC and
yes, he was
King Mo and those guys. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he was at Oklahoma State there.
Always known as a mean MFer.
Yes. Yes. I know it probably wasn't the performance that a lot of people were expecting in terms of dominance with Patrick Mix, but coming off of his first loss, I thought he had a little bit of a slow start in the first round, but I thought he did a phenomenal job after that. I talked about it in the UFC, we were talking about the UFC fight, one of them, where the person's coming off of a loss. You're just trying to get the win. DeLima.
That's DeLima.
Yeah, like with Mix coming off of his first loss, obviously upset, didn't win the title, that kind of thing. He wanted to make sure he got the win. He changed camps. Now he's at Couture's, at Extreme Couture's there with Jake Shield and some of the other guys. Yep. There's a lot to absorb. There's something that you are specifically working on that your camp has been working on you, and now you just go out there. Now you need to go out there and try and do what you've been working on in the gym. And it's different. You do it in the gym. It's like you do it with people that their style, and it works probably against them. But then to do it against somebody else in a fight who's fighting a little bit faster and harder, because in training, you can't mimic the fight pace, and in a real fight, it's a more intense. That person's using a lot more strength, not worried about getting tired. And so I thought Patrick did a great job after he gathered himself after the first round, came out and showed dominance the next two rounds. I thought he looked good, man. I thought he looked really good.
I thought he looked fantastic. The first round, I liked the fact that he had some difficulty.
Yeah.
I really do, because I watched him fight his way out of that difficulty. I've known Albert Morales for the entirety of his professional career. You know, he started in Bellator, actually, but, you know, I watched him when he was a young fighter, and he's good everywhere. Now, he had some problems, you know, when he went to the UFC. He had a couple fights he lost by a decision and stuff, but he's good, and he's got a good grappling game. He's got, you know, good stand-up, and so he's run into a situation where he's had some hard fights, and he lost a big fight. I think it was in not sure what organization it was. It was to Alfred Kashakian, who you'd watch Sergio Pettis get his first win in Bellator against.
LXF against Kashakian.
Okay, LXF. Lights out. That's right. And so he's had some hard losses and stuff, but he's still a good fighter, and he really had regrouped, fights out of, you know, Black House. He's got Kenny Johnson doing his wrestling stuff, so I figured he was going to be tough, you know, to just take down, but I knew that Patchy's just so good at getting to the back. But that first round, he gave Patchy everything that, you know, you could give him. He came out in the second. You could tell that he was feeling pretty good, and Patchy just took it over.
Yeah. And
just got dominant positions. And it was funny because I was listening to his corner in between rounds, listening to what Jake Shields was saying, and Jake said the right thing. He goes, "Hey, look, I need more out of you." He says, I cannot have a round like that. He goes, "That was a close round." He goes, "I need a dominant round out of you.
Yeah.
Go get me a dominant round." And he went out and he did it.
Yeah.
You know, and then he went out and he finished it in the third. And so just a really good comeback performance off of that first loss, because you never know how, especially it's a young fighter, a guy who had never lost in the amateurs, a guy who had never lost in the pros. He had gone 24 fights in a row without a defeat. And you get that first defeat, you don't know how they're going to react. How are they going to step back up? Or is it going to be that when they get hit, they start to, instead of doing what they did before, I can't lose again, and so they start to step away and not engage now? He did a great job. He looked really good, and Patchy mixes back. He's going to be a handful for everyone.
Yeah, he's good. And like, if you look at, he stylistically to me is someone who's tailor-made for Pettis, because if he can get Pettis down, and him being longer and taller than Pettis and being able to get in on the legs, and he's nasty good on the ground. I think he's tailor-made for someone like Pettis. It should be a really good fight. But then
you're saying tailor-made to beat Pettis.
To beat Pettis. Yeah, but then you've also got the other guy who's number 3 right now, probably chomping at the bit, Magomedov. Like him, he's another guy who's tailor-made to beat Sergio Pettis. And so, like, you've got guys there now. Obviously, we saw in the last fight with Juan Archuleta and Pettis, it's going to be hard to take him down and hold him down. That was the problem. As soon as you got him down, he got up right away.
Popped right back up.
Very impressive. What was the other fight on that?
Rafion Stotts and Josh Hill's the one that you want to go crazy about.
You know what? I don't want to. You know what? Now that you said that,
I will not take anything away from Rafion Stotts. He fought a smart fight. He's fighting a guy that is really technically good, very smart. He dominated the action of the fight, so you can't say anything about it. You just wanted to see more out of both because you expected more out of both because they're both that good.
Very well said, John. Very well said. No, I'm gonna go a little bit more, like a little bit harder in the paint on him.
I figured you would.
Yeah, the Rafion Stotts thing. You had plenty of energy. You did a great job controlling the position, but you are ranked number 4. Okay, where did you think you were gonna go after this? With a dominant win, you could have got a title shot. Absolutely not now. If I'm the promoter sitting there going, "Hey, I want to see a dominant win. Do you want a title shot?" No, I think now you're forced to fight somebody else. And if you were able to pull up the Bellator rankings, I don't know if these are.
Yeah, it's real simple.
Okay, but I think I had put him somewhere. He's gonna have to fight somebody else.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna have to fight somebody else, and there's another chance of you not being able to get a win. So why like? There should have been more. And what I don't like, this is what I didn't like, was that sure you beat Josh Hill, but at the very end, like the last 15 seconds, you start talking, you start getting a little loud, you start like kind of showboating.
Why wasn't that at the beginning of the fight? Why wasn't that at the beginning of that third round?
Yeah, where was it? Like, hey, I'm 1 round away from beating you. Like, why? I just don't get that part of it all. He had so much energy left over. He was doing what cartwheel, whatever it was. He was like a lot of energy in the middle of the cage afterwards. I want to see. I think you want to see more. These are.
I think what you're going to see is I think you're going to see Rafion Stotts against someone like Magomedov. Oh,
I disagree. I think you're gonna have Magomedov fight for the title next, and I think you're
so.
Stotts and probably Stotts and Juan Archuleta now.
Okay.
Because you got to keep him away. You got to keep Stotts probably away from Sergio because they're teammates. That's one.
Teammates, and so that's a problem.
And then 2, Stotts didn't have a great performance. I know it was a big win over Josh Hill. Like you said, he fought a very smart fight, but I'm not giving you a title shot off that. Now, if you go out there and beat Juan, okay, now maybe we have a conversation. But I'm sorry, but I don't think Sergio beats Magomedov.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But that's that conversation that's in there. And then you got Patchy Mix kind of left in the middle there.
It's the one thing that I really like about the bantamweight division is you can take a look and you go, I think that guy could beat that guy, but that guy could beat that guy. And you have this where that title might be changing hands back and forth.
Yeah. I think once it gets to Magomedov, I think it's going to stay there for a little bit.
I knew you were going to say that.
The only one that I think that maybe has somewhat of a chance would be Patchy Mix.
Patchy Mix.
Magomedov. Stylistically, it's like, okay, go ahead, take me down.
Yep.
Now you're going to be in a little bit of trouble. But, I mean, we saw Patchy get tired in a 5-round fight. So by the 3rd round, he wasn't the same fighter that he was in the first 2. So if he works and continues to work on it, because he cuts a lot of weight. He's a tall, long guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's a big guy. So, we'll see. But you've got other guys that are in there. You've got James Gallagher's there. You've got, Josh Hill is still there.
Leandro Higo, and
Lugo
that I love, Jornel Lugo.
Lugo. You've got, Brian Moore he made his way into the top 10. He's number 10 now. So if you bump him up in there somewhere, he'll be in there as well. Brian Moore versus one of those other guys up there. So
I'd like to see Brian Moore against Lugo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good fight. And then if you're looking at Higo's still got power in his hands. He's got good jiu-jitsu. And the other guy that's, not even in there that you got to look at is, in the top 10, they don't have a guy that used to be the champion in Darian Caldwell if he's going to fight at 135 still. So, and you also have Horiguchi who's sitting on the wing.
Yep. 2 guys that are not in the bracket right now because they haven't fought in a while.
They got a lot of talent at 135.
Yeah. I think it's our most stacked division in the whole promotion.
Yeah, well,
45's there as well. 45 there as well.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, main card, let's go. That Michael Venom Page, he hasn't fought anybody. He only fights cans. They're protecting him the whole time. Okay, is that over now?
No. I had people in my Twitter section saying like,
No.
"Oh, the Can Crusher."
It doesn't matter. Exactly what I said. It doesn't matter who he fights. They're going to say, "Oh, he's not good." I'm just telling you, people, the guy can fight. He's good. He's a problem for everybody.
He made it look easy. He
didn't even break a sweat.
No. I thought for sure Derek Anderson was going to be able to catch him. Like, not catch him, knock him out, but I thought for sure he'd be able to, like, get after him and get to the clinch.
Dirty it up on him a little bit.
Dirty it up, yeah. He didn't even fucking touch him. It's like this
lunging. And this is my whole point. Everyone thinks, and we had talked to Derek Anderson, and he goes, "No, I'm going to stand with him. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that." And I'm thinking, that's just not the right game plan because you think you're going to be able to touch him. And then when you don't, now where's your game plan? And people think that they're going to get in on him. And everyone can say what they want about, he got knocked out by Douglas Lima. Yes, he did. Well, Douglas Lima happens to be one of the very best welterweights in the world. No doubt about it. He's the champion of Bellator, and he can fight with anyone. Mm-hmm. But he was having problems with Page, especially in that first round of that fight. And he ends up with that kick. He gets the shot that knocks him out. Awesome job. But it wasn't an easy fight up to that point.
No.
And this is where Page is still getting better. He's just a problem for anyone. He's in that same realm of Stephen Thompson. People don't remember when Stephen Thompson was, just starching guys. Yeah, he's had a couple of guys beat him, and anyone can get beat. But Stephen Thompson is still a problem for everyone based upon the style that he fights. But I'm telling you, Stephen Thompson gets hit 5 times more than Michael Page gets hit.
No, I agree. I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, Michael Venom Page, his footwork, his movement, his feints, all of those things, the speed was evident. He did that it was a little step in. It wasn't a sweep kick. It was just a little step in head kick.
Yeah.
Beautifully
He
done.
just switched the location. He knew where he was going, but he faked it so it was going to be towards the body and just kind of slid it up.
So nice. So nice. And then, I mean, like, Derek just being Derek, just one of those tough kids. I mean, he was telling them, you can go ahead and keep letting me fight, but his corner was like, no, the fight's done, bro.
Yeah, his corner right away. The fight's done.
Yeah, he's like,
And the corner's right. Look at the cartilage was displaced. I don't know if people understand what they were looking at with that nose break.
Yeah, tell me what the difference is between the Rory McDonald situation with Robbie Lawler and then this one.
Okay, here's your difference. When you're talking about the nose of Rory McDonald's nose is broken. It's fractured.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, meaning that it's bleeding and stuff like that. It's got a line going across the bone, has been separated, but it hasn't been displaced. What you saw with Derek Anderson is you're seeing the nose is broken, the bone is completely displaced, and the cartilage, because all this bottom part, that's why I can take and fold mine over, is big. It has now been crushed and displaced down into his septum, and the bone is now it's out of place. So you've got a completely different situation, and for them to fix it, they're going to do there's both what they call closed and open dissection of it to put it back. They're going to take rods. I've had it done. They're going to stick it in his nose and try to pop that cartilage back up into place. It's going to feel really good when it happens. It sucks, but to have someone fight with that, you're talking problems, and that's why the doctor comes in and goes, "No, it's over. It's not just a broken nose. It's been displaced, and that's why you can actually have someone's sinuses start to get crushed off of that because there's nothing there now." So it was, as soon as I saw his nose and how flat it was, like, oh, they're going to stop the fight.
Wow.
And they did, and I figured they would, and it was the right thing to do.
Got it. But then let's get into the next stoppage, which is Patricki versus Peter Quilley.
Yeah, that one I didn't agree with.
Didn't agree with it either. It's blood.
Yeah. And it's, I used to, I would tell referees all the time, and I would tell ringside physicians, and it's really tough. And, everyone go ahead and eat me up about this because you're not a doctor. You don't know. Yeah, you're right. I'm not a doctor, but I do know what doctors are looking for as far as cuts and what's the problem. Now, the real problem with Patricki's, when you're looking at the doctor coming in between the second and third round, is the cut man, who is a really good cut man. Has been doing it for a long time at Bellator. Dean Lassiter, knows what he's doing. He was actually taking gauze rolls, not just not just the nose stick or the Q-tip. He's taking the actual roll that he has dipped into adrenaline with Vaseline and stuffing it into the cut. It's a big cut, and it's losing itself in the cut. And normally that adrenaline will stop the flow of blood. It will make the flow of blood stop to the point where now at least it's been closed up. The Vaseline, as soon as it gets touched, it's going to start bleeding again. But when a cut man cannot ebb the flow of blood, does not stop it, and as soon as the fighter moves, the blood's starting to just run down his face before the fight's even started, you're going to get a lot of ringside physicians go, no, there's no point to it. It's a cut that's so deep, so big that we can't even stop the bleeding. The blood's going to get in his eyes. Well, let that happen is what I'm just trying to say, because it could be that the blood doesn't get in his eyes and you give it a chance. It could be that he goes out there and he throws 2 shots and the fight is over and he's the winner. The real problem here is there's a lot on the line in this fight.
Yeah.
There's a ton on the line for Pitbull. And I'm not saying do this just because it's Pitbull. I would do this for anyone. I would try to get them through that round. I would try to get them at least into that round to try to give them the chance to try to come out with a win. Now, that's not taking anything away from Peter Quilley. Peter Quilley came out, did a great job, did exactly what he was supposed to do. Peter Quilley, no one knows this, he actually got injured in the back. He cut his foot on something in the back, and Dean Lassiter had to go and try to stop the bleeding on his foot because he had a big old slice on the bottom of his foot. Came out and fought anyways, because he's just a tough Irishman that doesn't care. And he came out and put on a great performance. But I didn't think that the doctors gave Patricki all the room that they could have to try to at least let him, try to get something done in that round. You can always tell the referee, hey, watch him close. If it starts to bleed bad, I want you to stop it and bring him to me so I can look.
Yeah.
And the referee's going to say, okay, I'll do that. And that wasn't done, so I wish it was.
Yeah, when I talked to some of the commissioners afterwards, I think what really scared the doctor when they came in, like you said, they had when you wrap your hands, they had the end of the gauze, and it was probably like only about like this big around, like the end portion of it. Normally the gauze is about like that, right? When you start wrapping your hands. Yeah. They had the end gauze, and so it was like down to the last little bit, and he had dipped it in the adrenaline or poured the adrenaline on it and put it in there. And he said the whole gauze roll
covered it up
into the cut. Yeah. So you could actually almost close the cut over the gauze. Could have left the gauze in the cut. And that's what I think scared the doctor. These East Coast doctors, man, they're all pussies. remember the New York doctor, the one with every time. Yeah, I'm kidding, guys. But no, it's true. Got to remember, these doctors have a lot on the line.
Yes,
it's not like, there's pressure on them to make sure they're making the right call to keep these fighters safe. But you also have to, I think these doctors need to follow the sport, and they need to know who they're dealing with.
That's the difference.
They have to know who they're dealing with. They're not dealing with, grandpa off the couch, or there's some kid off the couch. They're dealing with people that have trained, they've been hit, they know how this feels. Patricki's been in damn wars his whole career. And same thing with Peter Quilley. They both know exactly what they're doing. And so I think in this situation, I couldn't agree with you more in terms of they should have let this fight go on. And I've always said this, and Bob and I have always talked about this, Bob Cook and I. It's like, hey, when the doctor talks about wanting to stop, I say, hey, give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute in the round. If you don't like what you see, go ahead and stop the fight. But give me 1 minute. You've got to make that very clear to the fighter. Like, hey, I'm going to give you time, but as soon as I start seeing it, like you said, if it's bleeding too much, if I see you wiping the blood from your eyes, and it's affecting your performance, then I'm going to stop the fight. But if you can go out there and show me something that you're still in this fight, or there's a chance that you're going to win this fight, then I'll let it keep going. Because that's the moment. Those are the moments that make superstars. Those are the moments that you can capitalize on, and it's a cut. It's not like it's not like a cut that potentially gives you droopy eye. It's not a cut that that will cause major harm or body. It's a head cut, so they bleed more.
Yep.
I don't know if you recall. Remember there was 2 fights. Joe Daddy and Yves Edwards.
Did you say, I don't know if you recall?
Yes, I did say that.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Okay. There was 2 fights. There was
Joe Daddy against Yves Edwards. I did it.
And then when he choked him.
That was the most blood ever.
There's that fight, and then there was the Adam Piccolotti fight. I can't remember who he fought, but he got the choke, and at the very end, they're showing the highlight clip of him choking him, and the blood squirts out of his forehead. Squirts out of his forehead as he squeezed his head. So that was a lot of blood, but it wasn't. And this wasn't like that though, and that's the thing. So I would have liked to have seen a minute and a half, maybe 2. To see exactly where the fight was going to go for that to happen.
Yeah, I'm gonna send something to Dave. I'm looking for a photo. So let me see if I can send this to.
Are you gonna take over?
Yeah, but damn it, I'm so shitty at this. Here, let me go message. So news.
iPhones are the easiest one as well, John.
What's that?
iPhones are the easiest one as well.
I got it, baby. I got it. It should be on the way to you. See if you can put that one up, and I'll talk about it and explain.
Okay.
But you're gonna have all kind. I have so many pictures of cuts and different things that have occurred, and you're looking, and doctors are looking for specific things and things that most people, when they look at it, they don't understand what they're looking at. They don't see the cut. They don't see the difference in it. But there are differences. And when you're talking about the one with Patricki, you're talking about one that's off on the side of his forehead. So there's really nothing bad that can happen there structurally. When we talk about structurally, you get into the eye and you talk about the way the eye is as far as tissues and things like that. But what you're seeing here, this was a cut. That was Brandon Gertz against Derek Campos. That was the Michael Jordan is what we called it, because it kind of looks like Jordan in his thing.
It does.
But if you look at the bottom left is what made the doctor stop this fight. Okay, and that cut occurred in the first round. And when it occurred, it looked similar to this, except for what you're seeing in the bottom left leg of that. You see how the top leg is this straight. It's a little bit jagged, but it's straight, goes up off to the right. The leg off the right, kind of straight. And then if you look at the bottom leg of that cut, you'll see that tail. You see how it splits into two directions?
Yeah.
That's what makes him stop the fight.
Yeah.
That difference in the cut. That wasn't there in the first round, at the end of the first round, and it wasn't there until the end of the second round. It occurs off of a shot. It starts to tear the skin, and now the doctor goes, can't have it.
Yeah.
Because that's when you start to get these major tears that open up badly. So there's reasons why doctors will stop something and people go, it's the same cut. It's not. That little difference that you see is the difference in the cut from when he allowed it to go to when he says, I got to stop it. But when you're looking at Patricki's and stuff, Joe Rogan would call it, the whole goats thing and everything like that. But it's not one that he is actively having a problem with. He hasn't shown it. So let him at least show that he's got a problem with it. Let him try to go out there. That would be, what we would want to see. But again, it's like, sometimes they don't look at who the fighter is. They don't know the difference in the fighters. They don't realize what's on the line for the fighters. It's just another fight.
Yeah, I guess from a doctor's point of view, though, it's like they can't really concern themselves with that. They've got to look out for the fight.
No, that's exactly the way the doctor is looking at it.
But they should, though. They should in scenarios where, like, it's just a head cut and it's going to bleed. But as long as there's no long-term damage, why can't I not keep going on?
Well, I can tell you this. In fact, you brought up the Joe Stevenson versus Eve Edwards, and that was on the side of Eve's head. And if, people, talk about, blood in fights and they talk about different fights, no one ever brings that fight up because they don't remember it. But, that was one where it was bleeding so bad that it actually was pooling out like you'd see a crime scene on the canvas.
Yep.
It actually, wasn't just dripping into it. It was actually so much that it was actually pooling and moving out. And then finally, by the end of the round, he was covered. He looked like, he'd been in a fight with cannibals or something. I don't know, but it was just bad. You remember the movie Carrie where she's got blood all over her face? That's, Eve's. But the whole thing was, I'm looking at the cut. The cut's not bad. It's just that there's an arterial vein that has been ruptured and it's spewing blood. And the ringside physician of that time he's one of the best ringside physicians there has been. He's still working in Nevada. And we had made a talk about, different things with cuts and blood. And he goes, look, blood is nothing. And I always used to use his line. He goes, it's colored sweat, right? He goes, you don't worry about it. He goes, what is the cut? Not so much the blood. What is the cut? And so I always went off of all the information I had gotten from him. And he told me, he says, John, they're not going to bleed to death in there. He goes, it's not going to happen. This is not something someone has to worry about. So that round comes to an end, and Eves goes back, and they're toweling him off, and that ringside physician pulls me over to the side, and he goes, "Hey, John, you got to stop the fight." And I go, "What?" And he goes, I said, "Dave." I said, "Well, why? The cut's not bad." He goes, "I would tell you that he has lost between 500 and 750 cc's of blood already." He goes, "If he was in the hospital, I would be giving him a transfusion. I can't let him go on. He's losing too much blood." I go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa. You told me he can't bleed to death." He goes, "He can't because I'm telling you to stop the damn fight."
That's great. Oh, geez.
So I went over and Eves was crushed. He goes, "I'm fine." I go, "I know you're fine, brother. I'm sorry." I go, "The ringside physician won't let the fight go on. We got to call it." And he was crushed, and I didn't blame him because he's like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But so you have these things that that occur. At times when you go, that's not a bad cut, but the doctor is looking at other things.
Yeah.
If you're watching, by the way, I probably can't show that picture that John sent on YouTube because I think we get pulled. But if you just Google Brandon Gertz's cut, Yeah, you'll see it on there, but I don't think I can. I'll review it, but I don't think I can show that one.
Why is it?
Right. It's my personal photo.
Falls under violence.
It's my personal. It's not violent.
Falls
I think
under
it falls
violence.
under
Have
And you
seen
can't even
some-
tell what it is. It's got a paper thing around it.
I'll review it, but I don't think I can show it.
Okay.
I think you should show it. Dave,
If I do it, it'll probably be in black and white.
pull out your balls and show the picture. Just kidding.
You don't want to see that either.
No, you're right. Good
all
point.
right. So it was the highly anticipated return of Anthony Rumble Johnson against, I call him Gugu, but
Gugu.
Augusto. So Jose Augusto. It was a highly anticipated return. John, this was a little bit of my concern was what we're going to see from Anthony Johnson the 4 years away.
Yeah.
I thought honestly, I thought he looked good, but I thought he made mistakes in terms of he tried too hard, I think, to get it out of there in that first portion of the fight. He was putting pressure. It almost seemed like he didn't respect Gugu. He wanted to go out there and touch him and make him and show him his dominance, that kind of thing. And it was, like I said, these are the type of things that happen when you get to a new promotion, the new contract, the more money. You think you've got to go out there and fight like that. And sometimes you do underperform, and sometimes you try to overperform, and it backfires. And it almost did backfire in this case. And it just made for a lot of drama and a lot of fun. AJ's my boy, but fuck, I was sweating up there. Damn. Like, what is going on? What the frick just happened? And if you ask him, he didn't know what happened either.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that because that was my major mistake. But I thought Anthony did exactly what you said. He was trying so hard for something that comes so natural for him that he left himself open and he got hit. You know, Gugu had hurt his hand, and it was visible that, you know, he hurt his hand off the top of Anthony's head, and then he used it again, and you could see him grab it and kind of turn away, and you look and you go, you know, is he gonna you know, actually stop in the fight based upon his hand? Obviously, he broke his hand, but comes back as Anthony is trying to put him away, and he hit him with a big shot that hurt him and then put him down. And I made the mistake in the interview. I looked and I should have thought, you know, being that I've been around too many guys, I should have known he got concussed. You know, that shot was hard enough, and he took enough damage that he got concussed in that he might not even know about it. And I was trying to say, Anthony, how hurt were you? And he goes, I never got hurt. and right away I was like, oh shit, he doesn't know. And my producer in my ear says, show him the video. Have him turn and look at the video. Right. And I'm like, and I should have said, you know, I totally understand. And I should have gone on from it. It was a mistake on my part. So I was never trying to put Anthony in a bad spot, and I did. And this is why you do not interview guys that get knocked out, because they don't know, and people don't realize. They think, how do you not know? You were there. It happened to you. It's a moment of their life that is gone. And that moment that he was hurt by Gugu, he doesn't remember it. Yeah. And it was bad on my part for, you know, actually bringing it up and then listening to someone say, well, go ahead and look at it. You know, yeah, you did get hurt. You know, it's like, of course he got hurt. Everyone saw it. He just doesn't know about it. But he did come back with a beautiful, beautiful knockout. You know, that shot that, you know, Gugu was stiff going down. He hit the ground. He kind of rocked him back, and then one hammer fist, it was over. But it was over from the point where Anthony hit that shot. So to Anthony, if in any way I offended you, man, brother, you know I love you, and I'm sorry I screwed up, but I learned something from it. And I'm never asking a question to someone that got hurt like that again in that way. So,
well, I think it's
my bad.
I think it's more just like, hey, walk me through the replay, and then like him seeing the replay himself, like, oh wow, like I guess just allowing them to tell the story.
Yep.
You know, and that's kind of where, and that's Rogan talks about all the time. Like, we don't want to interview the people that haven't been knocked out because, like you just said, is they don't always remember. And if you go in, we were talking about it earlier, you could still be on your feet, like with Donald Cerrone, and he probably won't remember a lot of those punches.
Oh yeah.
You know, I'm sure he remembers getting hit and clipped, but then after that, it's probably like just a big haze. Okay, I didn't realize I got hit with the uppercut. I didn't know I got hit with the left hook. Whatever it was. You know what I mean? And you could still be on your feet and you don't remember these things.
Right.
So there's a big difference on when you're getting hit and running and exactly remembering what happened as well as all the details. Sometimes, you know, like I said, when I fought Hermes Franca, I got hit and my arms went limp and mine went face down, ass up. And I was awake. I could see the canvas coming towards my face, but I couldn't put my hands up. And my face hit off the canvas and it woke me up and I started scrambling. Oh shit, I'm back in it. You know? And so those things happen. There's times where you're awake and there's times where you're like waking up going, shit, what happened? There's a big difference. Like I said, AJ, once he settled down, I think once the first round ended and he came out in the second round and was able to touch him up on the feet, I thought the relaxation part of that right hand was key. He didn't really show it. He just threw it, and it was nice, and that's why it snuck its way through there and landed cleanly. It was nasty.
Well, one of the things that you really saw, he still possesses speed.
Yeah.
Speed is not gone. It's still there. And so with speed and the strength that he has, he creates power.
Yeah, but here, let's remember that power sometimes is better served, which I think I'd say 99% of the time is better served from relaxation.
Yep.
Now you don't see it coming. I just throw it. You're not expecting it. And then there's a bunch of little things that all accumulate that power. Is that you don't see it when I just do it relaxed. AJ in the first round was loading up everything. He was trying to like throw the big shot. And then that gave Gugu time to prepare, cover his head, duck his chin, all of those things because AJ was trying too hard. But once AJ relaxed, got settled down, getting a little trouble there and being like, you know what, okay, we may be in this for a little bit. It's a 5-round fight. Let's go ahead and let's get back to a normal fight. And he was able to do that. I got a little concerned when AJ, the very first couple combinations, AJ started ducking his head. Just kind of putting his head downward and covering with over the top of his head versus covering just his face. And so that scared me a little bit. But then as the fight went on, you could tell he was putting pressure on himself to have a good performance and go out there and fight. And man, Gugu was big.
Yeah.
You see these two guys side by side and everyone's like, man, AJ's a big guy. Bro, Gugu's big. He's a little bit taller than AJ. He's like probably 2 inches taller than AJ. And he had some good stuff. He's
a good fighter. I told you, the guy is tough. He had no quit in him. Even when he hurt his hand, he still went after him. And that's when he hurt him. When AJ was really, going after it and he throws that one shot, it hit AJ and you could see, that hurt him.
Yeah.
So it's
just good stuff. I mean, I thought, look, when I talked about this card being stacked and this card being great, the May 21st card is also just as good. It should be a little bit better, I think, given not better. I shouldn't say better. It has matchups that could end up being really good barn burners. So if you guys tune in on Showtime for the May 21st card as well for the Bellator card. But this card here, there was fights I said that lived up to potential. This fight here was one of those shocking ones. The ones that had all the drama that you would have wanted in a fight. And it was just great TV. And if you're sitting at home, you were on the edge of your couch the whole damn time. Like, oh shit, he's almost got him out of there. Oh shit, he's got him out of there. And then all of a sudden, boom, oh shit, AJ's rock. He's on the ground. What's going on? And he jumps on the neck. And I'm thinking to myself, AJ loses most of his fights by rear naked choke. This is not good. Like I was thinking to myself, this is crazy.
All but one.
Yeah, and so it's like, damn. So there was a lot of things there, all the drama that was in there. It was crazy. I mean, how did you score the first round given that part?
Oh, the first round went to Gugu.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. And he ended up, he almost had AJ out of there. And one of the things, when we talk about, and you're looking at fighters, when a guy is hurt, there's certain things you want to see out of him. And especially in MMA, hey, if you can get those hands clinched on that guy and suck him in close and hold on to him, great. Okay, I know it's not what the fans want to see, but as the official inside, you're thinking, you're doing the smart thing, and you're giving yourself time to recuperate from something that hurts you. That's smart. The other thing that you'll say, okay, I'll also take, big movement. You're going to get on your horse, get on that bike, and you start circling and getting yourself away from your opponent. Great. What you don't want to see is a guy that sets his feet, starts to duck his head, and starts swinging hard, because that's the guy that's going to end up unconscious.
Yeah.
And so what you saw out of Anthony, even though he got hurt, and he gave his back, but as soon as he was able to get to a position that he could just slow the fight down, he did, which showed a lot of veteran experience, because Anthony's not been hurt by a whole lot of people in his career. And like you said, I think all of his fights, except for one, he lost by submission. mostly rear naked choke. And the one that he lost was he got poked in the eye where a guy stuffed his finger, second knuckle deep into his eye.
Yeah.
And I don't care who you are. The fight was not called right. He should never have lost it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, and as your whole thing with commissions go, they didn't change it. So it was Kevin Burns. But it's, I was very impressed with the way that AJ was smart enough to keep, get to a position where, I got him down. I'm just going to try to slow this thing. I'm going to hold on to him. I'm going to try to get myself back. That's a smart veteran move.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. I'm glad he's back.
Yep.
He's got a tough task ahead.
Well, that's okay. That's my question for you. All right, now you're worried about him in this fight, coming back 4 years off, all this stuff. Now he's fighting Nemkov. What do you think? I know he's your friend. I know I'm putting you on the spot.
No, you are.
I am.
He's not going to beat Nemkov with that performance.
No. But gotta get better.
That being said, he doesn't need to get better. He just needs to get back into the routine of relaxation. If he does that, I think that he can beat him. Like you just can't count him out. You saw right there. Nemkov finishes that rear naked choke. That's the thing. That's the difference. You get rocked and he's able to jump on your back like that, it's over. And Nemkov also he's phenomenal on the ground. Top position, chokes, arm, all those things, he's going to be on there. So do I think he's got a chance of beating Rumble? Yeah, but can he get Rumble down? I don't know. I don't know if he can get Rumble down. That's one. Two is he can stand with Rumble for a little bit. He can. But can he take Rumble's shot? That's the other thing. Like, as the fight goes on, we saw Rumble's power is not going to go away just because he got in trouble.
Nope.
It's going to still be there. Nemkov's got to make it a dirty, grimy fight. I hope Nemkov doesn't look at this fight and go like, "Oh, I've got it now."
Yeah, I don't think he needs to make it a dirty, grimy fight. In fact, I think he wants to stay away from that dirty, grimy fight with AJ. I think he wants to make it. Yeah, I honestly think you want to make it a very clean, tactical fight. Stay in certain positions, move in certain directions away from AJ's power. Watch that. He's really good with his left leg kick, either whether he's in the southpaw position, he's just bringing it straight up, or he switch kicks from an orthodox. He's got certain tools, but he relies on those tools. And so if I can keep the fight at a range and come in, step in, and step out in the right direction, I think I want to be in a tactical. I don't want to get into a firefight inside with him.
Yeah. I think what you got to do is you got to press AJ to the fence the first 2 rounds. Just make it grimy, try to get the takedowns. Then you get into the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round because you want to try to get his power to slow down. You want to try to get the pop in his to slow down, yeah. And him being away, no matter how much he's been training, he looked phenomenal. I think he looked better now in terms of his physique. Looked better now than when he left the sport.
He looked healthier now.
Yes, he did.
He looked really good.
I think the time away made him healthy.
Yeah.
It was a time for him to decompress, get rid of all the stress of being a top fighter and just come back in and be like, hey, I'm in a new organization, new start, new beginnings, and go out there. But man, what a way to start. What a way to start.
It was.
And so, but him and Nemkov, it's kind of the fight that I think everyone was hoping to see. I don't think they would have tossed it up between, Yoel and him at Rumble, but I think most people want to see Rumble and him fight, and I think it's going to be a great fight. Nemkov just got to keep his chin tucked.
Oh, yeah.
And have his chin down. But I think the activity, I'm going to give the grappling aspect and the wrestling aspect to Nemkov in this fight. It's just a matter of can he avoid from getting clipped heavy by the 3rd round, 4th round. That's the thing. In the first 3 rounds, I think I'm going to give it almost all to AJ. If AJ's able to keep the distance and touch him, I think AJ can win. He's going to make Nemkov respect him a lot more. But I think Nemkov's going to come in with a little bit better of a game plan in terms of press him to the fence, make it grimy, slow him down, wrestle him a little bit. I think that style is going to happen. So we'll see. I think AJ's matured a lot, though. I think he's going to have to mature a lot from this fight to his next fight with Nemkov to get the win.
Yep. It's going to be fun.
All right, let's go to the main event. You got Juan Archuleta versus Sergio Pettis.
Talk to me, baby. Talk to me, Goose.
I talked to Juan a little bit afterwards, and and he was kind of talking like he thought he won, and there was not a moment there where I thought he won. I had him. I had him win the second round. The rest of the fight,
I'm not sure if I had him win in the second or the third round. I had one of the two. I can't remember. But
one of the judges had him win in the third, I believe.
Yeah, he told me he broke his foot. He goes, that really caused me a problem. He goes, I broke my foot in the first round. He goes, and it really changed my ability to move and to use angles the way I wanted to. He goes, that created a problem because I've known Juan for a long time. He's just a good person, and he, I got a text from him saying, 4-1, John, right? And I'm always honest with him. I said, yeah. I go, look, the rounds were close, but he always ended up with the better, harder, cleaner shots. I said his counters started to take the fight over. I go, and you weren't able to stop that. And I said, but I said it was a great performance by both of you. You fought your ass off. I go, and you're going to be back. I said it's just a matter of you weren't able to get the wrestling didn't work for you. I said, and the counter striking that he was able to land, it was the cleanest striking of the fight. So, and it's tough, man. When you put everything out there, you give it your all. Your heart, is out there for everyone to see. It's a rough loss, especially when he didn't put you away, and I don't think either of these guys were going to put the other away. They're both really top flight fighters, and it's tough to put a guy that's that good away. But Pettis did exactly what he was supposed to do. I do believe that he took that blueprint that Pitbull used against Juan as far as not following that movement, staying pretty controlled and staying in space. And when he entered a certain space, that's when I would react, or I would let him throw his shots and take a little slip and then counter strike. That's what Pitbull did to him, and Pettis did the same thing. So
yeah. The key to me was that when Juan did get a takedown, he wasn't able to control it. And then when he was trying to get in, that Sergio was able to get his fight for his underhook back. There was moments where Juan actually slipped and got to the back, but still wasn't able to get the takedown.
Yeah.
And so there's just there was just so many transitions where Pettis was winning the exchange. He was slightly ahead in almost everything. And that's why I was giving the rounds more to Pettis.
Yeah.
I had it 4-1 also, and I gave Juan the second round. I probably would have given Juan the first, except that last exchange where he ended up in mount, Pettis did. So, but even the first round was very close.
I thought you could have possibly given Juan the fifth also, because that takedown, it had a huge impact. That was a beautiful takedown.
That was.
But it was the fact that he wasn't able to do anything really with it. And then Pettis just ended up having the cleaner striking throughout, which kind of overcame that huge takedown and what Juan was able to do. But I can understand someone saying the fifth round too.
Yeah. I think what we're going to see now, like I said, what we talked about a little bit earlier, I want to see Stotts and Juan Archuleta fight. That'd be a good fight. That's a great matchup. A very similar fight to this one, probably very action packed, and go get it. And then you're going to see Magomedov probably fight Pettis for the title next. And then, you've got all the other guys that are in that area there. You got James Gallagher versus Patchy Mix possibly. That's
one they need to put back together.
Yeah, they're going to put that together, I think. And then you've got all the other guys that are in that bracket. But overall, look, the prelims, we had a couple good fights in the prelims. They didn't live up to the hype that I thought they would. There were some good ones. They were, the Campbell and Corrales fight did better than I thought it was, because it was a little bit of back and forth.
A little bit of craziness.
Yeah, a little bit of craziness. And then even the post-fight interview with Campbell was very crazy. He's fucking nut. But overall, it was a good night of fights. And the main card, to me, stole the show, and I'm glad. Normally, sometimes it's the other way around, and we're like pulling our hair out. But for us, it was a good night of fights. I was very happy and pleased. May 21st can be a stacked card as well, so I'm pumped for that fight card as well.
Oh, baby.
All right. Okay, go to mybookie.ag, use the promo code WAYNEIN, and they'll give you some extra cash, and you guys can go ahead and bet on a lot of things. You got baseball is back now. You got baseball's back. I think the basketball playoffs and hockey playoffs are coming up here shortly.
Coming up.
In the next couple weeks, so make sure you guys put some bets in on those as well. They offer all of these things. What else do we have? We've got, what's up with this? You have the UFC is this weekend. Is there anything else that was this weekend?
This coming
Bellator's not till next week. So
could have been betting on the Canelo versus Saunders fight.
There you go. Could have been betting on that fight as well. There. So, John, outside of MMA, though, we had the Canelo Alvarez fight versus Billy Joe Saunders. What'd you think? The boxing match.
I got to see just the last little bit of it. I didn't get to see the very first couple of rounds because I was watching the UFC and everything. But I will tell you, it was exactly what I thought as far as Canelo is just, at this time, people talk about him, oh, he's small. He's not small. He's short. There's a difference. Okay? And when you talk about his ability to step inside, land power, because the guy's got power, and to defend, just look at his head movement inside and where he puts his hands and where he puts his head. And you're watching guys trying to touch him, and they're not. Everything slips by, little touch here, little touch there, but nothing on it because it's grazing by him. He's just, right now, he's head and shoulders above everybody else in boxing as far as his ability to deliver power, to not get hit, to fight at a range that he wants, to control the pace and the location of the fight. I don't care who you put him against. Yeah, if you put him against, Tyson Fury, he's in trouble. Okay, just based on size. Okay, but when you're talking about, a guy coming down a certain weight class and him going up, he's just the better boxer, and that's why he's getting wins. He's phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, there's fights that I've always wanted to see, and then him versus Andre Ward would be the freaking fight. And I know that when Ward left the sport, he was still fighting at 54. Now he's gone up in weight. He's fighting a little bit heavier now, Canelo is, but Andre Ward was fighting at 168.
No. Let's just cut that right out. That's fine. That fight would work because Canelo has fought Kovalev, who was the light heavyweight champion, who Andre Ward took the championship from, and then Andre Ward fought him again and then retired. Canelo fought Kovalev too. So
no, I'm saying when Andre Ward left the sport, Canelo was still fighting at 54.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm saying, like, right now, I understand that portion of it all, but I'm saying, like, if times were a little bit closer together, that fight would have been the one. And I thought Mayweather did a great job of fighting him while he was still young.
Oh,
still
smart.
Brilliant. I mean, he just Mayweather's great at fighting you when you're old and retired, or should be retired, or fighting you when you're super young.
When you're really good, you're coming up, but yeah. I see little holes that I can take advantage of. Let me get him when he's young and he doesn't know.
Well, not only that, but then now you're someone like Canelo fighting a Floyd Mayweather, who at the time was at the peak of his career. Yeah. So that was just that also adds a lot more pressure for you being young. But overall, right now, this Canelo, if I was to watch it, I would love to see him fight a Mayweather again. But I know Mayweather's 41 now, I believe. That ain't gonna happen. There's no way that he's gonna do it. Mayweather would never do it. And then the other thing as well, like the Andre Ward. How old is Andre Ward?
Andre's not old.
He's not old. And I would love to see him come back. But I
want to say Andre's got to be, 35, 36 now?
37.
37, okay.
Yeah.
Getting up there more.
I know. It just
undefeated, though. No, let's take a look at it. Andre Ward never lost. From the time he was 14 years of age, never lost. Went through the Olympics, gold medal, never lost. All of his amateur career, once, that he had that loss when he was like 14. That was the last one. From that point, did not lose. Pros did not lose. 32-0. That dude
and he fought killers.
And the thing about Andre Ward that people don't get is this is a guy that could, and Canelo now is the same thing. He could fight at range. He could stick on the outside, stick and move. He could fight in a phone booth. You got into putting your foot into a tire with Andre Ward, you were going to get eaten up. That dude could fight in a phone booth. He could fight at range. He could fight anywhere. He was slick. He was smart. He understood that boxing was not about how tough you were. Boxing was about how many times I could hit you without you hitting me.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest things his dad had told his coach. He walked in and talked to his coach and said, look, I want my son to be able to box, but I don't want him to get hit. That was the biggest.
Okay.
Smart. So
yeah,
a lot of what Virgil did with him was basically making sure that Andre didn't get hit. A lot of the head movement, a lot of the movement, and sticking and punching off of that movement.
Yep.
And Andre Ward used to come in and spar with a kid that I used to train, Ricardo Cortez, in boxing. I used to train him not for boxing itself, but I was his conditioning, helping with his conditioning. And Andre was nasty good.
Oh,
You know, and Ricardo he fought Kirkland, he fought Angulo, he fought a bunch of top guys, you know, and they had some great fights. But Andre Ward we would come in and spar with him. It was just nasty. Cortez would get so frustrated. He'd be so mad he couldn't hit him. And to the point where sometimes it turned into like, let's take the gloves off and let's really fight. Like, hey. You know, but Andre, great guy, man. Great guy. Loved working with him. Even afterwards, like, hey, brother, he would tell, you know, Ricardo, like, hey, you know, this is this is how I fight. That's the point of me fighting the way I fight, is making you miss and making you pay. And it's frustrating if you know you're a top boxer. And this is the guy at your level, because Andre was fighting at 160 at the time, and so was Ricardo. He's like,
well, he may be in your weight class, but you're not on his level.
Not anywhere near. It wasn't even close. And so, it's tough for, I think, a lot of fighters think. But look, that's the fight. If I was to say, like, hey, if I wanted to see a fight in boxing right now, it would be that fight. It'd be Andre Ward versus Canelo Alvarez. And a lot of people forgot about Andre Ward.
Yeah, well, everyone's forgotten about Andre, but it's, you know, Andre was doing the Contender Series, and I was talking to him there for a long time, and he's such a good guy. You know, and we were talking at the time about, you know, the crossovers of, you know, guys, and because he trained with the Diaz brothers, and he would bring the Diaz brothers in not because, oh my God, you know, I can't find sparring. He could find sparring partners, but they were odd. They were different. They threw things from weird angles, and he liked that. He liked to see someone that didn't have that natural, normal boxing style where everything was this tight thing, and they would wing shots, and he wanted to be in there with guys that could wing shots and throw from weird angles. So he was used to seeing that too. He's just a guy that was smart in the way he approached the game.
Well, hopefully we see him start fighting some. So I don't know who their thing is. I don't know.
Canelo?
Yeah, I don't know.
Who are you going to put him against, really? Look, let's be honest. I think the Andre Ward, I would have loved to seen, especially in Andre's prime, and I don't want to see Andre come back and do that. I want him to be happy in retirement. He's got a great life. He's got a great family. Continue on doing what you're doing, brother.
But big money fight, though.
And it is a big money fight. It would be a huge money fight for him, and he deserves it because he didn't get those big money fights until right at the end of his career.
Yeah, and I think that fight right there, I would say it'd break probably the 2 million mark on the pay-per-views if they did.
Oh, I'd buy it.
Yeah, I'd buy it for sure.
I'll buy it right now.
I'll
pay for it now so they can realize what they have coming up.
Yeah, that's true. I want to say how many prepaids can we get? How many prepaids can we get? All right, what else you got for us, Dave? In the news, baby, in the news.
This whole thing around.
Oh Jesus, are you kidding me?
And Joshua Fabia. So, you know, just since we talked about it last week, Diego did that interview with Anthony Smith where he talked about, you know, he thinks the UFC's after him and potentially got a hit out on him. And he talked about, you know, he can't get a meeting with Dana White, but Dana White did an interview on Friday and said that Diego can call him anytime. And then, you know, now there's Joshua Fabia accusing Dana White of sleeping with female fighters. There's also that training video where he was punching Diego in the head. So there's a whole bunch of things around it. And so, you know, just your thoughts on kind of where we're at with it right
Joshua Fabia is the fucking gift that just keeps on giving to this. The media is soaking all of this shit up. This guy's a fucking idiot, man.
He's a tool.
Just dumb. Just like.
Well, he's getting what he wants.
Yeah.
He's not dumb. I'm not going to say he's dumb.
He's not dumb. You're right.
Okay,
but the fact that the media is buying into it, just shut him down. Just stop interviewing him. Yeah. Don't care what he has to say.
It's real simple. If you're going to talk to Diego. This guy comes and sits down and says, excuse me, I didn't ask for you to come into this. And when he says, well, I'm going to be here. Good. We're done. See you later. Get the fuck out. There's no reason to allow this guy to have any control over anything. You know, people would say what they want. You know, Matt Serra has had his moments in everything, and I love Matt. But did you see the thing that he did when they were in Abu Dhabi? This guy came up to Matt and he goes, you know, I don't know you.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the way it should be. You know, no one needs to know you because you're nobody. You haven't done anything. It goes back to the same thing. He's, you know, all you did was take a guy that was an incredibly tough, gritty, nasty fighter, a guy that made a career off of being that guy. And it was the only way he was going to make it and you made it so where he's lost every fight that you've ever been in his corner, except for one where he got a DQ win.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're just special with what you do. Yeah, other fighters should really start coming in. You know, you found the right guy, someone that believes in you. I'm sorry that Diego, you know, has that belief in you, because from what I see on the outside, and I could be wrong, I've been wrong before, but what you give doesn't merit the respect that guy gives you.
Yeah, this guy's he's just ran into that whole thing. Remember the coach for Ronda Rousey?
Yeah.
What was
Edmund?
his name? Edmund. He kind of ran into that. Like, it's going to be like where now fighters don't really want to talk. They'll never talk to you. They'll never want to train with you. But I think Edmund's working now with somebody again.
Edmund's working. He's got, Shabazian.
Oh, it doesn't.
He's the trainer for Shabazian and stuff.
But he ran into a little rough patch there as well during the Ronda Rousey.
Oh, he ran into a lot of rough patches.
Yeah.
Know? They were making memes about head movement.
Well,
he couldn't win.
Well, here's the thing, though. Like, when the trainers start taking up some of the limelight,
bingo,
you got to get rid of them. Or you need to have a sit-down talk with them. This is not about you. And the more you say, the more pressure it puts on me as a fighter.
There you go.
Stay out of it. Don't talk. Just talk. If you're going to say anything, yes, of course, my fighter's the best. They're great. My fighter can win everywhere. That's the point. You're the trainer. That's it. Don't get into anything else. It's not your place. It's not your job. Like, we've been working these that's what I love a little bit about, like, the fighters, the coaches that have been around for a long time. You know, Greg Jackson's, Bob Cook is brilliant at it. He says this much. He had a good camp, feels great, ready to go. Like, that's it. That's all you got to say. Like, it's not about you. And it will never be about you. That's the other thing.
It will be about you to a point. It will. Okay, because when your fighter continues to do well, people are going to start to look and go, wow, what is going on here that made this fighter so good? Well, it's this guy, and you're going to get you'll get some shine. Okay, take that shine, understand what it's going to do for you, but put everything back into, hey, I don't step inside of the cage. My guy does. If I can do things in the back, in the gym that help him, do his thing when he's out here, that's all that I care about. And that's where it ends. Yeah,
they like there's fighter like Trevor Whitman, Henry Hooft. Very rarely do you hear them say a whole lot.
Eric Nitzik.
Eric Nitzik, exactly. Perfect example. Very rarely do you hear them say a lot. They're very quiet. They're very humble. They talk about their guys and their female fighters.
Yep.
How great they are. And then that's it. That's all. Let the fighting do the talking. Let your fighter do all the talking with all the things that you guys have been working on. And if the fighter has success, it like you said, it shines back onto them.
How much did you hear Mike Brown say?
Fuck, I can't even pull words out of that guy. Like, hey, what's up, buddy? Like, hey, Josh, nice to see you.
Hey, Josh, how you doing?
Conversation. Hey, brother, like, things are good. Yeah, great. Camp was great. Like, you're like, I'm trying to pull things out of you so I can talk about your fighter. That's it. He's brilliant, man. Mike Brown. And I love Mike Brown. Mike Brown's a perfect example. He's exactly a classic example of someone that just lets his fighters the work that his fighters do, and let that be the talking. And the coaches they'll like you said, they'll get their shine, but they'll get it based off of their fighters' performances.
Yeah, but see, they get their shine based upon just what you said, their fighters' performances, and they deserve that. But when you are getting something based upon, well, it's obviously not what you're doing for your fighter hasn't won with you, so what's the real reason that you're getting anything here? Oh, you're a weirdo. You're a guy that is creating problems. You're the one trying to make things all of a sudden seem like there's something going on. You're basically the conspiracy theorist. Congratulations. Go step outside and walk off a short dock.
John, these guys are everywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Look at these are the same guys that have that fucking.
These are the same guys slipping into your DMs.
But these guys, there's a whole Instagram page dedicated to these fucking knuckleheads. What is it called? It's called the Kung Fu.
Never seen that.
No. It's the dojo. What is it called?
Oh, McDojo.
Dojo.
He's awesome. I've done stuff with him.
he's got to be a McDojo owner. That's what he
yeah.
is. This guy's one of those guys. He's got the death, like what Cowboy was talking about. Like he said something about the death punch.
Oh Jesus!
Remember? And then there's
Trust me, I got called on that. I actually look at this thing. All right, I'm gonna fucking punch him in the head.
What are you doing?
He's got Diego upside down, and he's hitting him with little tiny shots in the face. He's kicking, and you can tell his incredible style. Look at that kick, Josh. Look at it. Oh wow, that's really good.
This is on the McDojo channel.
Okay,
there you
because
go.
it's whack.
Yeah,
it's absolutely whack, and I don't know what Diego is doing by allowing him to do that, but you see some of these people and you go, you're just a fraud.
But how did it get to this point though, John, where Diego's allowing this?
Isn't this guy's thing the school of self-awareness or something like this? This guy is the least aware bitch I've ever seen.
But how did it get to this point? How did it get to the point that Diego was allowing this guy?
It's just it's whatever Diego saw in him, and I don't know, and it's none of my business. But the fact that Diego has some clout with media and that people want to know about him, this guy is tied to him. He just gets drug along.
For the first time in my life, I'm going to say I'm embarrassed that my name is Joshua. I'm embarrassed.
Damn, I wish I had picked that up.
Shit, man.
All those Joshes, man, they're all whack.
This fucking guy just ruined it. Motherfucker.
Some bitch using my name, man.
What else you got?
The Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul had their presser this past week, and
oh my God.
And Jake Paul decides, he posts on Instagram that he's going to steal Floyd's hat, and then he approaches him.
And he did.
In a post-fight presser, and he tries to yank his hat and run.
He
didn't try to yank his hat.
You know what he did?
He did yank his hat.
You know what he did though? Is he actually stole the limelight from his brother.
Oh yes.
Yeah. This guy doesn't give a fuck about anybody else but himself. This guy is all about himself. This is supposed to be here for fucking his brother against Floyd Mayweather. That'd be like if your brother fucking ran up and did that shit to Ben Askren and stole your limelight. Jake's a piece of shit. When I'm looking at this stuff, I'm like, look, I get it to a point, but he's lucky he didn't get his ass beat. He's real lucky.
Well, he planned the whole thing out. He actually put it out. I'm going to steal his hat, and then when he takes the hat, he goes, "Got your hat," and then he put a whole song with it of If you're looking at for marketing, the kid's pretty bright, man. He got how many fucking views off of that one instance? So he's smart about it. Do I think that it was the right thing to do? No, it's not the right thing to do, and it was childish, but it accomplished exactly what he wanted.
Yeah, my thing is, I wonder if
he's a professional troll, Josh.
I know
I mean, high level professional troll.
He's like probably one or two steps below podcast Dave. Trolling department. Oh man, it's sad to see. It's really sad to see that this is kind of where boxing is headed, and to think that these guys are making a lot of money. Yeah. It's embarrassing.
He's got a tattoo. Got your hat now? Oh my God, that's great.
I'm stupid. I mean, here's the thing. I'm surprised Floyd's security let him get away with this.
Well, it's because of who he was.
Yeah.
It's because, they wouldn't have let somebody that was just a schmo that they didn't know up like that. And it's because of the fact that it was Jake Paul. I'll let him get close and stuff. And then, as soon as he grabs the hat and he starts to go, they're grabbing him and stuff. But, they're kind of stuck in that spot as far as I got to let this guy go. This is somebody that, my guy is wanting to jabber with. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, it actually, I'm just going to be honest, it got people's attention on that whole
Look
thing
at him,
as far as
covering his face. He's so scared. He did this to himself. But the funniest part was he's, oh, got your hat, and he runs away like a little kid, right? He runs away. I got your hat. Then he runs away, and then like all the commotion breaks out, and he gets free for a second. He's like, he goes, yeah, let's go. But his voice is cracking, like you.
Oh
know,
yeah, because
yeah, let's go.
let's go.
Let's go, guys. Yeah, like, and he's out there by himself with like one security guard blocking him, and then the whole thing rushes back over towards him. He takes off running again. I'm just like, man. But let's talk real quick though about Floyd Mayweather. He looks like a fucking garbage man. I mean, like he looks like he's out there on what's the street there in LA? What's the street in LA? We're on Tent City, Skid Row.
Oh yeah, 5th and Wall.
Jeez, man. Like his beard, his hair,
Why can't the man have a beard and hair?
He looks old.
Well, it may make him look a little older.
Yeah, it's all scraggly and.
Come on, Floyd looks good. I have never once, and I've been around Floyd multiple times. That dude's always in shape.
Yeah,
he's always, got clean stuff on, man. I don't think he wears the same outfit twice.
You got that much money, shouldn't he? Probably doesn't have to. Jeez,
I'm telling you, man. But yeah, he does look different. Yeah. When's the last time you saw him with a head of hair?
Yeah.
You just don't see it, but
jeez, man.
This whole thing with Logan, and then people, and they're trying to magnify the difference in size as far as Logan being really big. Let me just make this as clear as I can for everyone. Logan will not touch Floyd with anything that Floyd doesn't allow to touch him. That's just the facts. This is, you can put it together. You want to watch it. I don't care. It's all fine. He will not touch him with anything that Floyd doesn't want to be touched by. Floyd might, let him throw and, take it on purpose and sit there and, say, or he's going to make him miss unmercifully for the entire time until he decides to just snap his head back and pop him to the point where all of a sudden it's over. This is not even close.
Yeah, neither one of them. Neither one of them. I think Floyd should do it, both of them in one night.
And I do think that Logan Paul is a good athlete. I think the kid has got, he's got athletic ability. I've watched him do other things. I think he can box fairly well, but there's a difference between boxing fairly well and boxing Floyd Mayweather. Okay. Floyd Mayweather has forgotten 10 times the amount of boxing that Logan Paul has learned.
Yeah.
He's forgotten it because it was useless to him, whatever it was. It's incomprehensible, the difference in levels here.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. I don't like the sideshow shit, because, just God forbid that one of them catches Floyd with something and then I got to fucking live with
that. Ain't happening.
Don't ever say never, buddy.
Never. I'm telling you, never. You could have these guys fight every day for a year, 365 fights, and Floyd only gets hit by what he wants to have land on him by Logan Paul.
But that's what a lot of people said about the Conor McGregor thing.
No, but again, Floyd let Conor stay in that fight the way he did. He carried that fight.
Yeah.
No matter what, and I'm a Conor McGregor fan. I want to see him do well. Floyd just carried him in that fight. He gave him the first rounds, and it's a matter of just think of what you were just talking about with the guy that you were helped with, physical conditioning. That was the boxer against Ward. What was he saying? I can't touch him.
Yeah.
And that's a professional boxer, a guy that's good.
Yeah, he was really good.
That's the whole point. People don't get it, man. You've sparred with guys. I've sparred with guys that were professional boxers. It's so frustrating. Yeah. You think that you can land something and you don't land dick. And every time that he wants to, he fucking lights you up. And he's not trying to light you up. He's just touching you.
Yeah.
It's his game. It's his world.
I just look at the size, and I only get concerned because, if with Conor was able to hit Floyd with a couple good shots, uppercut, a couple good, straight lefts. if one of these big guys at 200 pounds, or 190, whatever it is that they were contract weighted at, because I don't think Logan can weigh over 190.
Can't weigh over 190, and
which is a big cut for him because he walks around about 215.
Well, Mayweather has to weigh 160. Yeah, above 160.
Above 160.
Yeah, above.
So it's crazy that the commissions are allowing this though. The big weight discrepancy. Because remember when Frank Shamrock fought Tito Ortiz? Yeah. Frank couldn't weigh like 10 pounds less or something like that. So Frank was weighing in with.
No. Frank. It was a 200 pound, and Frank didn't weigh 200 pounds. There was 2 weight classes at the time. There was above 200 and below 200. Frank was in that, right? He had to weigh in at 200 pounds. And so he was putting quarters in his pockets.
Yeah. We may see Floyd putting quarters in his pocket.
You may see Floyd putting quarters in his pockets.
All right, what else you got for us, Dave?
Last piece of news is Usman coming out and saying that he is open to move up to 185 if Vettori beats Adesanya, but he won't fight, is he?
Can I ask? It's smart that he doesn't want to fight Izzy because I don't think
it's also a Nigerian thing.
That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, that's why. They're both from Nigeria. He looks at him like, this is one of my, brothers in the sport. This is a guy that comes from the same country.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me at all.
Just fight.
Yeah. Well, okay. Go back to old time in MMA, and it was Brazilians didn't want to fight Brazilians. Remember that?
Wow, things have changed.
Oh yes.
I think it's because they're the first. Like that they're the first. And that's why. So they want to make sure that each group.
Like, why am I going to fight my countrymen when I can fight everybody else? Okay,
I guess
but it'll go away.
But that's the fight that people would like to see. That's the thing, wrestler versus stand-up guy. That's the fight. Anyways, if you want to make a lot of money, but look that group of fighters. Through Ali, it is about the money, but it's not about the money. There's that little bit of that loyalty position where it's like, but Izzy's not with Ali.
No, Izzy's not with Ali. But
Izzy's with Paradigm, I believe.
Yep.
So, yeah, Usman doing it because, like you said, through the countryman thing. But if you're gonna sell big time pay-per-views, that's the fight to do it. If you want to sell a big time pay-per-view, Usman or Izzy, like that's the fight to do it.
I think Izzy's got, let's be honest, he's got 3 more fights within the middleweight division. And he's got this one with Vettori, if you want to say. He's got a rematch with Whitaker that people, I think enough people are going to want to see. And I think you can even say that he's got the Darren Till, maybe even, the Cannoneer, but the Darren Till would be something that people would want to see. And past that, there's not a whole lot there for him.
Somebody else might make their way back up in there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, anyways, that's the fight that I want to see if it's big pay-per-view. That'd be a big pay-per-view for the two of them. What else you got?
Is that on news?
That's it. That's it on news.
All right.
Wow. Well, hey, John, I know you're on the East Coast, and it's already kind of late for you, so enjoy the rest of your day, and happy Mother's Day as well to your lovely Miss McCarthy. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Also, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/WayneIn. Use the promo code ANDSTILL. And guess what, guys? We have a Memorial Day shirt up there. Go ahead.
I forgot. We actually did a podcast with Morning Combat.
Oh, wow.
Talk about that.
Let's talk about that real quick.
Okay.
Let's talk about it real quick.
Well, let's talk about our phenomenal looking Memorial Day shirt. Podcast Dave, you did an outstanding job with that. I like that one.
Did you just hit your fucking head on the microphone? You did, huh?
Is that the
bow?
The little squiggle. Oh, nice bow. Boink.
Take a bow, and he just hit his head on the microphone. That was great. Yeah, it's pretty. I like it. Great job. He was just gonna make it all green. I'm like, what are you doing?
No. Camouflage is great.
Camo in there, buddy.
I like that.
You got to go camo. But he is.
And it's got. I like the Memorial Day. Thank you.
Yes, and that was awesome.
All the people out there that have given everything. Thank you.
So you guys pick that up. Use the promo code WayneIn. So it's ProWrestlingTees.com/WayneIn. Use the promo code WayneIn.
Wrong promo code?
Sorry, God. Use the promo code. And still.
How many times did you get hit in the head?
Yeah, actually quite a bit. Towards the end of my career. Oh, man.
That's because guys let you get headbutted.
Use the promo code and still. But yeah, it's a great shirt, Dave. I gotta tip my hat to you, buddy. Good job.
Yep, nice job.
Get it in green and sand as well.
Oh, yeah, you can get it in green and sand. Also, we have it in a sand color, black as well, and then in a green color. So you have a black shirt, a green shirt, or a sand colored shirt. Nice stuff. Available. Limited edition, though, up until Memorial Day.
I wonder what color I'll get. Something to think about.
I might go with the sand. You're going to go with black, of course.
Of course.
Jeez. Jeez, come on, buddy.
Simple. My life is very simple.
I'm going to go in the sand and probably change it up a little bit.
All right.
Let's talk about the morning combat.
All right, let's go. We did a thing with Brian Campbell and Luke Thomas. I actually enjoyed it, fun. And then all of their little fans were very butthurt.
They were very upset. They thought that I took over the interview and that I was trying to sabotage them, which was
You were rude.
I was rude.
You were a bully.
A lot of it started off air before we started, and Luke was giving BC some like head, what do you want to call it? Give him a hard time.
Give him some snap.
Yeah, and I jumped in on it. This was all before off camera. And Brian Campbell is great. He has a great sense of humor. Obviously,
yes.
Put up with not just me, but also Luke and of course you. But I mean, we had a great time, great experience. Good to hash it up. Great to talk about it. I like to give a lot of people a hard time, and I give John a hard time.
You like to give everyone.
Yes, I don't discriminate when it comes to that stuff. You guys all need to understand that. Okay. It's meant to be fun. And it's funny, I had someone say hey, I used to be a big fan of your guys' podcast. And, then I saw, how mean you were, Josh, to BC, and I'm not going to follow your podcast anymore. And I was like, okay. Sorry. And I said, I'm sorry to see you go, buddy. I said, you guys have to remember, we see them around. We know them. It's a joking. There's a lot of joking involved. And look, you don't want us to get up there and just spout off all these things that majority of the fans don't understand. We got to have fun up there. This was the first time for us to join together. I had a great time hanging out with them. It was great. I'm thankful that they had us on. It was fun, man. We had a great time. Nothing but great things to say about them.
Yeah. First off, I want to say BC is just a good guy.
Yeah, he is.
He does a great job at actually getting us to actually talk about more things that we're doing, because he moves it along. But he's just a good guy with a great sense of humor. Luke is a guy super smart, knows the ins and outs of the way the sport's gone, and he's been there for a long time. I was talking to him about fights where he was the commentator and I was the referee at times, and that were just horribly done as far as judging and stuff. And we have a good time. There is no battle between us and Morning Combat. These guys do a great podcast. We think we do a great podcast, and we think you should listen to all of them. But we have fun, and if we're going to go on their podcast, or if they were going to come on our podcast, come after us. That's fun. That's the best part. And when you say something, and I think it was Luke said something about, I think it was about Michael Page, and that we really started as you realize how good he is, and it's just that this is the difference of opinion. And that's what these shows are about, is having a conversation where you believe one thing and I believe another, and let's talk about it. Let's see your points. I'll listen to your points. And if you can switch me over, great. If I can switch you over, great. But there is no actual, I don't know what to say, personal dislike or rivalry. Yeah, not at all. I don't know where people get it, but that's their perception. And when they have the perception, it becomes their reality.
Yeah, here that take on the MVP part. The reason why I just said stop, Luke.
Yeah, I like that. That was great.
Because the reason why I said that is Luke has worked in the media portion of it. Luke has not fought in the cage. Luke has not been a referee. Luke, sure, he's called some fights, but he hasn't been in the back warming up fighters. He hasn't trained side by side with fighters. He has not rolled with the best guys in the world. He's not boxed and kickboxed with the best guys in the world. He's not sparred with the best guys in the world. I have done that. John has worked and coached and also done a lot of sparring with a lot of great guys and reffed all the best fights in the world. I'm just simply saying Luke and Brian have a media's perspective. And when Luke said, do you think MVP is this? And I was like, stop. We've got to stop. That take on MVP needs
that scenario, yeah.
That scenario and that take on him needs to stop. We need to start shaping the argument in terms of he's so good that he's making these guys like Derek Anderson. Derek Anderson's good. Really
17-3.
17-3 and just phenomenal. Fought the who's who in Bellator, and he's really good. He's tough. And so the thing is, when he came to me with that, it was like, no, look, he made Derek Anderson look like he didn't belong in there. And everyone wants to say that now you can't say that Derek Anderson is a can. He's not a can.
Oh, no, that's what they'll say.
That's what they're going to say. And that's the problem.
And that's wrong.
Look, he makes it look easy. And that's all. When I got into that little portion of it all, I have to be the one. And even though we are now considered media because we do this and now we're analysts, I said, but no, my take is still going to be on the fighter's side, especially if I know the fighter is talented. And MVP is extremely talented. You don't make someone look that bad if you're not that good. And that's exactly what MVP is. He's extremely good. He's fast. He's quick. His movement. He has a recipe that people just cannot figure out. They're still dipping their finger in there trying to taste it going, is there walnut in there? Is there vanilla? What is in there? Like, I have no idea. They're trying to figure out what the ingredients are in that mix. And they don't know. They don't have a recipe for it. They're figuring it out. And that's kind of that's the hard part. And I had to get at Luke and Brian for that because they are the ones forming that narrative about him, and it's not they're not doing it on purpose. They're just continuing to read the tweets, and they're trying to read, and they read all the other media, and all the other media say the same thing. And they've got to stop. You've got to start saying he's this good, and he just makes people look bad.
Yeah, and the one thing that to go to the other side, Bellator has got to give him those big fights.
Yeah,
they got to give him the guys that are absolutely the killers of the division. Put him up against him. Let him just continue to prove how good he is.
I think the name for him to fight next is Lorenz Larkin.
Oh, I do too. Yeah. One of two, and I would love to see him fight Ray Daniels, but that would not work because Ray doesn't have a whole lot of experience in MMA, and then people would say, "Oh, you gave him," when Ray Daniels' style and his style could be just unbelievable, but maybe it would be bad. But I do think that Lorenz Larkin at 170 and MVP is the fight to put on.
Well, here, what they said was, what Luke was saying, what about Logan Sterling? And I said, I don't know, because it's one of those fights where, and I had to tell Luke, I said, look, it's one of those fights. If MVP can make him hesitant to shoot, which he can, with the side kick to the thigh, with the push, the side kick to the face, the kick up to the top, the long jabs, and all the movement, he can make Logan Sterling look bad, which doesn't benefit us either. If you're trying to build up a young star like Logan Sterling. Yep. So it doesn't benefit us to have him fight him. The other thing is that Logan's coming off of that loss, and he hasn't had a win. Did he have a win since then?
No, because he was supposed to fight on Friday, and they pulled the fight because his opponent all of a sudden was sick.
Yeah, and so, but my point is that it doesn't build being MVP being 34 years old. It doesn't help us build another star in Logan Sterling, which we think he's going to be, and everything that has been told to us by Stanford MMA as well as the things that we've seen. He's a potential star in the making. But a Lorenz Larkin, big name, great fight. Stylistically, it's fun. They're both fast. They're both going to stand. They're both going to go out there and try to get it done. I think that's a fight to make.
He even called out Jason Jackson. So
it's a great fight too.
That's a great fight too. But as soon if they fought, and I'm not saying that Venom Page is going to beat Jason, but if he did and he made it look the same way as he did against Derek, what is everyone going to say? Oh, Jason Jackson, he sucks. Like, no, Jason's a stud.
Yep. There's no way you can say that. I'm sorry. Yeah. Jason should be, I think Jason's probably should be next in line for a title shot after Amosov. There's fights in there. It's just nasty. He's good. Yeah. And I would love the MVP and Jason Jackson fight. It's a brilliant fight, and that'd be a great fight. Yep. All right, guys. Well, hey, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel as well as the little bell, because today's show is going to drop a little bit late. I want to wish everyone a happy Mother's Day. Also, go to our iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, all of those platforms. Whatever your listening platform for audio is, go ahead and go to those platforms. Hit the subscribe button. If you can, hit it on all of them if you can. And we would greatly appreciate that as well. John.
I want to just say a very happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, especially the ones that are taking care of the young ones right now, because you are the ones doing all the hard work. So very happy Mother's Day. If you are able to make somebody's Mother's Day better, go do that for them. And the last thing we will say to everyone out there is thanks for listening and see ya.